Huck. The Murim Alliance launches a devastating assault on the primordial demon pavilion, with urgent cries to stop their advance. Da-da-dak! Amidst the chaos, a desperate command echoes not to let the attackers breach the compound, as a lone figure rushes through the burning complex. Ta-dak! The sounds of their frantic steps pound against the ground, showing the sheer speed of their escape. As the enemies swarm in like ants, the figure desperately runs, overwhelmed by the sheer numbers. The bearded elder calls out to the inner administrator, demanding to know why he hasn't escaped the danger yet. Huff! Huff! The inner administrator acknowledges Captain Sandojan, catching his breath mid-flight. Captain Sandojan demands to know why the inner administrator is unguarded, insisting that he accompany him to safety from the dangerous compound. Jin Yeomyung calmly explains that he was going to retrieve the cult leader. Even after ordering everyone to abandon the main mountain, the cult leader has not moved from her throne, shrouded in a strange mist. Captain Sandojan's face falls, realizing the dire implications of the cult leader's inaction. Captain Sandojan warns that their defenses will collapse within the hour and implores Jin Yeomyung to quickly get to safety. Jin Yeomyung replies with a determined smile, stating he will retreat only after understanding the cult leader's intentions. But a chilling revelation descends. It was already too late. Ta-dak! Jin Yeomyung remains, watching Captain Sandojan run away from the chaos. Jin Yeomyung exhales a heavy sigh, accepting the gravity of his decision. Internally, he curses, declaring his life this time around to be a total dud. Huff, huff. With labored breaths, he continues his urgent run towards the cult leader's pavilion. Huff, 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 huff. Reaching the building, Jin Yeomyung loudly calls out, announcing himself as the inner administrator and asking if the cult leader is inside. An unsettling silence follows his desperate plea. Growing more frantic, Jin Yeomyung shouts her title again, begging the cult leader to respond. A soft voice finally responds, inviting the inner administrator inside. Oh! The inner administrator is utterly stunned, realizing he hadn't actually expected a reply to his casual shouts. Sweek! His hand clutches his chest as he nervously wonders if she heard him speaking so casually. Tak! He takes a tentative step, desperately convincing himself she would understand his initial formality. Gru! Jin Yeomyung struggles, grunting with effort as he tries to open the heavy door. Creak! A thin sliver of light appears as the heavy door slowly begins to open. Arg! He internally curses the absent guards, frustrated that the heavy doors were left for him to open alone. He grumbles to himself about how incredibly heavy the door is. Huck! Huck! His face contorts with exertion, sweat pouring as he strains against the immense door. Doo-dook! His foot crosses the threshold as a strange liquid drips from above, hitting the floor. Keeg! Swah! Huff! Huff! Jin Yeomyung finally squeezes through the door, rushing into the ominous chamber. The cult leader, teary-eyed, makes a cutting remark about his martial arts being worse than a third-rate artist. Jin Yeomyung is utterly mortified, realizing she had witnessed his entire embarrassing struggle, but quickly expresses relief no one else did. The cult leader calmly confirms she indeed heard him, then begins to explain the severe repercussions for his casual address. Gravely warning, she concludes, stating he would certainly be in immense trouble if any elder had heard his casual tone. Arr! His mind reels in utter horror, realizing she had heard every single one of his casual thoughts. Took, took! Jin Yeomyung hesitantly climbs the steps, still flustered by the cult leader's revelation. His steps remain cautious as he continues his approach. Greetings, cult leader. Jin Yeomyung formally bows before her, adopting a much more respectful tone. The cult leader, heartless demonic empress Cheon Yura, coldly questions the weakest inner administrator's reason for seeking her out. Jin Yeomyung, ignoring the insult, asks why she still remains in the pavilion. Her pained expression reveals the shocking truth. She is afflicted by heaven-destroying poison. She lists a horrifying array of poisons afflicting her: massacre blood, formless, bone-melting, and all crippling poisons, leaving Jin Yeomyung stunned. Chwack! Jin Yeomyung clenches his fist, a terrible realization beginning to dawn on him. Wooduk, his face contorted in furious rage, he realizes the demonic faction lord must be responsible for this heinous act. Sober. Revealing. The man responsible was none other than the cult leader's chosen husband. Betrayed, enraged, this traitor also flung open the gates of the 10,000 Mountains, welcoming the Murim alliance as the leader of the insidious invasion. The cult leader recalls the chilling words he spoke to her before his departure. He had claimed to have endured immense hardship just to be able to approach her, and with a sinister grin, he revealed the reason he poisoned her, so she could finally understand a fraction of the suffering he claimed to have endured. Jin Yeomyung covers his mouth, flustered at the thought of the crazy bastard who poisoned the cult leader. Phew! The heartless demonic empress Cheon Yura smirks, declaring Jin Yeomyung a truly interesting man. Jin Yeomyung, still reeling from the chaos, insists that now is not the time for such commentary. She had always been stern and confident, a formidable presence. But now, in these final moments, she had actually laughed. Jin Yeomyung kneels, his voice heavy with concern, asking if it is too late for her. She confirms the heaven-destroying poison has already consumed her energy core, sealing her fate. Her shattered core bleeds as she reveals this heaven-destroying poison is beyond her control. Still kneeling, Jin Yeomyung hesitantly begins to propose a thought. Cult leader, what if? He repeats, just what if, as the cult leader's emblem looms on the wall. Really? Really what if? The cult leader, her patience wearing thin, warns him to get to the point or face severe consequences. Kawak, Jin Yeomyung clenches his hand and asks if she would do anything different if given a chance to reincarnate. The cult leader looks at him with surprise, repeating, reincarnate? Jin Yeomyung smiles, reminding her they had discussed reincarnation in the past. He recalls his past claim of having saved the world in his previous life. The cult leader, back on her throne, expresses doubt, but concedes his world-saving claim for the sake of argument. Suspicious, probing, she questions his motive for bringing up such a topic, wondering why he isn't focused on his own escape. Determined, principled, Jin Yeomyung firmly states that he cannot tolerate betrayal. With a resolute stance, he turns away, his determination unwavering. My help? Jin Yeomyung smiles confidently, telling her not to overthink it. He clarifies that his prior involvement was merely being presented as a candidate for her political marriage. He anticipates that's likely what she believes about his intentions. Reincarnation, huh? Challenging, curious, he challenges her, asking what she would do if his reincarnation claim were true. He gravely recounts how all the dogs of the Orthodox Murim Alliance and a third-party group have invaded the 10,000 Mountains. Resolute, pledging, he declares he will use even his soul to achieve his goal. His eye glows with intense resolve. Her leg subtly shifts as she observes his intense declaration. Earnest, promising, he continues, promising to do his utmost if she desires anything, remembering this moment. Would you mind seducing me? The cult leader, confident in her unexpected demand, sits regally. Jin Yeomyung's eyes widen in comical shock as he gasps, Pardon? Jin Yeomyung, reeling from the surprise, internally grapples with his confidence to stop Hanmu Big from becoming the demonic faction lord, yet struggles with being her partner. Uncertain, sweating, sweat beads on his brow as he internally concludes, such a partnership seems impossible. The cult leader acknowledges his dislike for her, questioning if he understands the near impossibility of his goal. He muses that a true romantic relationship requires willingness from both individuals. He recalls her tyrannical past as the young cult leader, an unstoppable force. Recalling, critical, she cruelly rejected and utterly crushed every man who dared to approach her. She even comically kicked away suitors, much to his amusement. TCH, the cult leader dismissively tells him not to bother if he's unwilling. Challenging, intense. She challenges him with an intense gaze, asking who deemed it impossible. His feet move as he continues his thought about a romantic relationship. She looks up, listening as he elaborates that it starts with interest. He finishes, stating it begins with someone interested in another who is not. Jin Yeomyung stands over her, confidently asserting his point. bold, charming. He declares with a charming smile that seducing her, Lady Cheon Yura, will not be difficult. She covers her face, admitting his bold declaration is rather embarrassing. Jin Yeomyung smiles gently, asking for a single promise from her. Jin Yeomyung gently asks if she would forgive him for speaking harshly of her past self, and if she would share any weaknesses. Jin Yeomyung, still processing his bold promises, is visibly flustered, anticipating dire consequences if their private conversation ever leaks out. The cult leader, annoyed, warns Jin Yeomyung that she will kill him with everything she has if this conversation gets out, urging him to listen carefully. Jin Yeomyung remarks that she was, quote, something in her younger days, causing the cult leader to recoil in embarrassment and tell him to shut up. The cult leader's eyes dart nervously, beads of sweat forming on her brow from his unexpected teasing and the implications of his earlier words. Quang! The sounds of battle rage outside, indicating the arrival of the formidable Murim alliance. Jin Yeomyung notes that the intruders have reached the main hall, then offers the dying cult leader a peaceful end, but she defiantly refuses. Jin Yeomyung smiles, expressing his desire to witness everything unfold until the very end, despite the chaos. The unorthodox Murim alliance leader, Sword Supreme Sage Gwanhyun, solemnly reflects on living to see the fall of the demonic cult during his generation. Jin Yeomyung challenges Gwanhyun, questioning if he truly knows the identity of the person he is keeping by his side. Gwanhyun proudly confirms he knows, identifying the man as the heavenly divine dragon. Han Mubaek, the demonic faction lord, is introduced as the so-called heavenly divine dragon, who has endured disgrace for the sake of the Janghu. Jin Yeomyung questions how a man with such a grand title like heavenly divine dragon could have walked among the orthodox factions. Chak, the heartless demonic empress, the demonic faction grandmaster, angrily declares it is time for the cult leader to pay for her sins. The cult leader, bruised and bleeding, offers a sad, almost mocking welcome to her returning husband. Han Mubaek, with a cruel grin, insists that his actions were all for the sake of the Janghu. The cult leader questions if his betrayal was truly for the sake of the heaven-defying society. The surrounding crowd murmurs in confusion, asking what the heaven-defying society is. Jin Yeomyung repeats the name Heaven-Defying Society, looking thoughtful as he considers the new information. The heartless demonic empress warns the alliance leader not to be deceived, accusing the cult leader of trying to drive a wedge between them in her final moments. Gwanhyun dismisses the cult leader's words, noting her life is hanging by a thread and ordering a full-force attack, seeing no need for a one-on-one fight. The cult leader, standing with Jin Yeomyung, asserts that even poisoned, she can handle them alone. Gwanhyun laughs, mockingly commenting on the cult leader's continued defiance. Hwaruk, a burst of dark, bloody energy erupts from the cult leader as she declares her resolve to fight to the end. Powerful, striking Sha'e, the cult leader unleashes the heaven-slaying demon sword art, cloaking herself in deadly red energy. The Murim Alliance members stare in disbelief, wondering how the cult leader, despite her poisoning, still possesses such strength. Gwanhyun commands the Golden Dragon Heavenly Sword Squad to attack, and the crowd surges forward to engage. Jin Yeomyung and the cult leader stand amidst a chaotic maelstrom of red energy and flashing swords, enduring the onslaught. Kakambak, Jin Yeomyung's eyes, bloodied, flicker open with grim determination as the battle rages around him. Jin Yeomyung kneels beside the cult leader, expressing relief, while she states her gratitude for being able to say goodbye before her demise. Revealing, sacrificing, she explains that the intruders retreated only after she activated the self-destruction array of the Heavenly Demon Hall, revealing her ultimate sacrifice. Jin Yeomyung's eyes widen in horror and anguish, crying out the cult leader's title. The cult leader's bruised face looks down, blood splattered on her, as she slowly succumbs to her injuries. Poignant, questioning. A silent question appears in the fading darkness, asking Jin Yeomyung why he is crying. Jin Yeomyung's face is streaked with tears and blood as he admits his overwhelming sadness. Bleeding, weakening, the cult leader's bloodied hand drips, emphasizing her severe injuries and rapidly fading life. Fading, calling, the cult leader calls out to Jin Yeomyung, her voice weakened by her imminent demise. With her last breath, the cult leader reminds Jin Yeomyung of his promise, asking if he will indeed seduce her. Jin Yeomyung's face contorts in raw pain and tears as the cult leader's bloody hand reaches out to him. The cult leader's eyes, still bearing traces of blood, gaze at Jin Yeomyung with a profound sense of peace. The cult leader offers a faint, gentle smile, finding comfort and acceptance in Jin Yeomyung's tears. Jin Yeomyung cries out, desperately holding the cult leader as she collapses amidst the scattered swords, her life slipping away. Jin Yeomyung's face is a mask of sorrow, tears and blood mixing as he grieves her passing. Dissipating, fading. Chijik, the cult leader's form begins to shatter into particles, her life force fading into nothingness. Kuuong, Jin Yeomyung embraces the cult leader as she completely dissipates, marking her very last moments in this life. A vision of Jin Yeomyung's past life emerges, where he stood triumphant, celebrated by countless people for saving the world. Revealing, destined, his hands glow as he recalls how the gods granted him 3 perks and 2 more reincarnations for his heroic deeds, though he initially planned a life of simple fun. The cult leader, in a final ethereal moment, smiles serenely, acknowledging his unspoken vow with quiet understanding. Her eyes gently close, surrounded by dissipating light, signifying her peaceful departure from this world. Jin Yeomyung makes a profound internal vow, dedicating everything in this, his final life, to her. Following his profound vow, Jin Yeomyung's eyes open with a piercing, ethereal glow. Chak! A splash of water jolts Jin Yeomyung from his stupor. Still reeling from his past life's demise, Jin Yeomyung reacts to the unexpected dousing. His loyal servant, Ji Chil, excitedly greets him, happy to see him finally awake, though Jin Yeomyung barely recognizes him. Jin Yeomyung quickly assesses the situation, deducing that he has regressed significantly into the past based on Ji Chil's youthful appearance. He looks utterly bewildered by the wash basin on his head, questioning why he couldn't have been woken up more gently. Ji Chil stammers, interrupted by the voice of Jin Yeomyung's father, Jin Gunak, who reveals he ordered the abrupt awakening. Huck! The sight of his father clarifies everything, as Jin Yeomyung now knows the exact moment of his regression. He recalls being 17, an aspiring playboy caught sneaking alcohol before his coming. Jin Yeomyung remembers the indignity of being beaten and dragged home like a dog by his own father. His father, Jin Gunak, scolds him, shocked that the eldest son of the Jin Clan could be knocked out by a single bottle of liquor. Jin Gunak further lambasts him, highlighting the shame of being so pathetic at a party with other elite heirs. Revealed as the demonic heavens Jin Clan patriarch, Asura King Jin Gunak stands firm, embodying fierce authority. Jin Yeomyung meekly tries to explain himself to his stern father, who is seated at a nearby table. Jin Gunak silences his son, expressing his deep disappointment in Jin Yeomyung's perceived weakness. His father warns him that if he must be weak, he should at least be smart, then demands to know why he was personally dragged home. Jin Yeomyung correctly deduces it's about his confirmed engagement meeting with the young cult leader. The 17-year-old young cult leader Cheon Yura is set to meet the elite heirs of the 6 great clans. This gathering is explicitly a contest to determine Cheon Yura's future spouse. The narration reveals that in the original timeline, the traitor Han Mubaek won the demonic faction lord selection tournament. Remembering the cult leader's tragic fate, Jin Yeomyung vows internally that history will not repeat itself. Pivotal, asserting, Jin Gunak declares that Jin Yeomyung's existence, despite his flaws, was for this critical moment, defining him as a truly ruthless father. His father intensely pressures him to win Cheon Yura's heart and surpass the other heirs in the upcoming contest. Jin Yeomyung, with newfound resolve, confidently asserts that the other heirs will never win her over. Jin Gunak smirks, expressing his approval of Jin Yeomyung's newfound confidence. His father, now less harsh, advises him to at least polish his self-defense martial arts if he wishes to uphold the family name. Jin Yeomyung breathes a sigh of relief, surprised he didn't encounter his father immediately after waking up this time. Strategic, opportunistic. He reflects that regressing 20 years into the past rather than 10 provides ample opportunities to change the future. A ghostly memory of the cult leader asks if his betrayal was for the heaven-defying society, fueling Jin Yeomyung's renewed purpose. Jin Yeomyung's eye glows with a dark, determined light. Vowing. Vengeful, he makes a chilling internal vow to wipe out his enemies, roots and all. Alarmed, Ji Chil, startled by Jin Yeomyung's intensity, asks his young master what he's planning, to which Jin Yeomyung feigns confusion. Ji Chil persists, asking why Jin Yeomyung is acting confused after boldly declaring he would become the young cult leader's future spouse. Jin Yeomyung touches his chin, appearing to consider Ji Chil's question. He calmly asks Ji Chil when he supposedly made such a bold declaration. Jin Yeomyung internally corrects himself, admitting he never explicitly stated he would become her husband. He clarifies that he only said the other contenders would be rejected by her, implying a subtle distinction. Ji Chil argues that it's essentially the same thing, but Jin Yeomyung emphatically states they are very different. Jin Yeomyung reflects that Cheon Yura in this timeline cannot be won over, no matter what. He explains that her obsession with martial arts and disdain for the weak means even he would likely be rejected by her. JEOK. A new figure arrives, expressing surprise that Jin Yeomyung is still there. Jin Yeomyung's eyes widen as he seems to recognize the newcomer. The newcomer is identified as Ma Chul-soo, the second son of the Blood Dragon demonic clan, who mockingly asks if Jin Yeomyung saw a ghost. Ma Chul-soo playfully asks about someone named Young-hee and laughs, implying a long-standing inside joke. Ma Chul-soo furiously denies having a sister named Young-hee, tired of Jin Yeomyung's persistent teasing. Quack! Ma Chul-soo dramatically draws his sword and challenges Jin Yeomyung to a duel, catching him off guard. Jin Yeomyung immediately notes this unexpected duel did not happen in his previous life, signifying a change in the timeline. Title: Re-establishing. The Manhwa title reappears, signifying the narrative shift to his new life. I became the husband of the demonic cult leader. Jin Yeomyung deduces that his father not beating him up likely caused this unexpected chain of events, realizing the past is already changing. The 6 demonic clans, Pei, Ma, Sa, Jin, So, and Hwan, who rule alongside the heavenly demon cult and the Cheon clan, are introduced, outlining the power structure. The narration explains that among the 6 great clans, the demonic heaven's Jin Clan and the Blood Dragon's Ma Clan have a contentious relationship, as seen by the angry Ma Chul-soo drawing his sword. Jin Yeomyung notes that personal conflicts between clans are forbidden, but an exception clause exists. He internally considers that since the duel doesn't involve clan survival or an official challenge, it must be related to a matter involving the Cheon clan, specifically the young cult leader. Jin Yeomyung asks if the duel is indeed about the young cult leader, which Ma Chul-soo confirms. Ma Chul-soo proposes a duel to Jin Yeomyung of the Jin Clan, stating that if Jin Yeomyung loses, he must give up participating in the young cult leader's engagement meeting. Jin Yeomyung feigns ignorance, asking why he should accept such nonsense, and points out Ma Chul-soo's younger brother is the one supposed to attend. Jin Yeomyung further needles Ma Chul-soo about his brother's perceived weakness, enraging him, but Ji Chil quickly warns Ma Chul-soo not to push the conflict further between their clans. Ignoring the warning, Ma Chul-soo charges forward, sword drawn, declaring that Jin Yeomyung shouldn't underestimate him. Ji Chil prepares to intervene, but Jin Yeomyung, with a dark smirk, firmly orders him not to interfere. K-wake. Ma Chul-soo is visibly shocked as Jin Yeomyung skillfully deflects his attack, revealing an unexpected martial prowess. Jin Yeomyung internally reveals he is awakening his senses based on his life before his previous life. Young master? Ji Chil cries out, bewildered that Jin Yeomyung, who supposedly knows no martial arts, is fighting. With his senses awakened, Jin Yeomyung mentally notes that while he might not match Ma Chul-soo's father's swordsmanship, he is easily a match for the teenage Ma Chul-soo's techniques. Jin Yeomyung's eyes glow with intensity as he internally asks himself what he thinks he's doing. Decisive, overwhelming, he sees Ma Chul-soo's movements clearly and resolves to simply overwhelm him with his newfound abilities. Ji Chill cries out in disbelief, recognizing the stance of the flawless reversal in Jin Yeomyung's technique. K-Wake. Jin Yeomyung's counterattack lands squarely on Ma Chul-soo, stunning him. Ma Chul-soo cries out in pain, his eyes glowing red with frustration and shock. Bewildered, speechless, Ji Chill stares wide-eyed, unable to comprehend Jin Yeomyung's sudden martial arts skills. Jin Yeomyung remarks that just yesterday, he was a carefree guy with no martial arts experience, then orders Hidden Figures to take Ma Chul-soo away. He warns them that Ma Chul-soo will likely freak out upon waking, so they must stop him, threatening to tell everyone he lost badly. As Ma Chul-soo is carried away, Jin Yeomyung casually adds that he probably didn't break him, implying he held back. Jin Yeomyung smirks, satisfied that he managed to not completely shatter his opponent, holding back just enough. Jin Yeomyung returns to his estate, where his subordinates welcome him back, bowing as he enters. A friend asks if he enjoyed his trip, to which Jin Yeomyung replies it was hard to say, recalling the public humiliation. He internally recounts the embarrassment of his father personally dragging him home from the sparring hall. Internal, realizing. He deduces that the chief administrator, who manages all clan affairs, must have known about his incident. Jin Yeomyung, speaking with an elder, brushes aside the elder's concern for his well-being. He immediately asks for access to a training room, shocking the elder, who questions if he's actually going to train in martial arts. Whoa! Several other subordinates react with exaggerated shock, questioning if Jin Yeomyung is serious about training. Jin Yeomyung, unfazed, instructs them to also retrieve specific martial arts scrolls from the clan's archive. A young disciple presents scrolls and bottles, excitedly claiming that mastering these would make him invincible. The young disciple impatiently asks if Jin Yeomyung is listening, then admits those are only excerpts, not the full versions. A panel shows buildings on fire as Jin Yeomyung sighs, recalling that the Jin Clan's focus on brute strength might be why the main estate caught fire. Jin Yeomyung observes his drunken past self and reflects that these martial arts never had a chance to shine because the Jin Clan prioritized brute strength. Contemplating potential, Jin Yeomyung examines the Heaven-Soaring Divine Art and Ten-Fang Divine Sword Art scrolls, noting they remain untouched. He internally acknowledges that the Jin Clan's typical palm strikes and kicks are not his style, preferring something more refined. He states he has exceptional innate talent, outstanding perception, and a solid internal energy foundation. Determined, aspiring, he vows to become the grandmaster his father always dreamed of, unlike his original playboy self. He acknowledges that Cheon Yura would reject him at his current level. Resolute, committing, he declares he will isolate himself and devote at least 5 years to intense martial arts training. He envisions his future self, strengthened and ready after his intensive training. Symbolic, ambitious, and imposing towering structure, likely the symbol of the heavenly demon cult, represents his ultimate goal and the cult leader's seat. Purposeful, protective. He intends for his training to ensure that when Cheon Yura becomes the cult leader, loyal, safeguarding, her reign will not be threatened by any traitors or enemies. A phantom image of the cult leader appears, softly saying, "That's good to know," possibly an echo of his past life or a vision of the future. Jin Yeomyung's eyes glow with a fierce, unwavering resolve, signifying his commitment to this new path. Jin Yeomyung turns and walks into the training room, ready to begin his rigorous martial arts journey. A single white flower blooms peacefully, symbolizing a quiet passage of time before the next significant event. Jin Yeomyung strolls leisurely toward the engagement meeting, telling his attendant that since he's last in line and everyone gets rejected, there's no rush. Despite his attendant's warning not to treat the Cheon Clan event lightly and whispers about his tardiness, Jin Yeomyung casually states he'll handle any consequences himself. He internally remembers his last engagement event failure, which led to a year's confinement and his father calling him a failure and removing him as heir. He reflects on his 5 years of rigorous training since then, only to be suddenly startled by a quang as a dark projectile slams near him. Observing. Assessing. The projectile lies on the ground, confirming the aggressive impact. as Jin Yeomyung calmly takes in the scene unfolding before him. Jin Yeomyung smiles, calling the projectile an aggressive greeting, and deducing that someone has already been decisively kicked out of the engagement meeting. He internally identifies the defeated challenger by their red martial robe and the blood dragon sword. He sees Ma Jin-yoon of the Blood Dragon's Ma clan defeated on the ground, noting it's been a while since their last encounter. Intrigued, scheming, Jin Yeomyung gazes toward the lesser demon hall, a figure standing at its entrance, thinking this situation and the victor could surprisingly be useful to him. Determined, loyal, the defeated Ma Jin-young declares he can still carry on and serve the young cult leader, despite his clear exhaustion. Cheon Yura, the young cult leader, watches Ma Jin-young with a composed expression. Cheon Yura is revealed in full, her presence commanding attention as she oversees the ongoing engagement trials. Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura stand across from each other, petals softly falling around them in a quiet moment before their inevitable interaction. Okay, I understand. Please provide the text you would like me to read back to you. A single white flower lies discarded on the ground, stepped on by departing boots, symbolizing the end of a segment or a quiet transition. Jin Yeomyung looks directly at the figure entering the lesser demon hall, internally confirming it's Cheon Yura. Jin Yeomyung clears his throat, wryly noting he isn't late after all, while the elder beside him questions his joking attitude at such a critical moment. Jin Yeomyung dismisses the elder's concern, urging him to just enjoy the show unfolding before them. He internally remembers Ma Jin-young as a dropout who was once utterly defeated by a single strike from Cheon Yura. Resolute charging, ha! Ma Jin-young charges forward with a fierce battle cry, demonstrating his resolve to fight on. Clashing, defending, Kang! Ma Jin-young's sword clashes sharply with Cheon Yura's, who adeptly defends against his attack. Cheon Yura smiles confidently amidst the sparks, stating that Ma Jin-young is better than I expected. Tak! Ma Jin-young's sword is knocked from his grasp with an A-seek, while Jin Yeomyung and other onlookers watch the swift turn of events. Impactful, painful, P.E.O.K. Cheon Yura lands a powerful strike on Ma Jin-young, who cries out, "Ah!" in pain. Defeated, fallen, Ma Jin-young collapses to the ground, utterly defeated, as the battle concludes. Subordinates rush to the fallen Ma Jin-young, crying out, "Young master," as others seem to exclaim, "Jin Yeomyung," in surprise at the outcome. Jin Yeomyung stands with a bewildered expression, a question mark hovering over his head as he tries to process the unexpected events. Ma Jin-young, despite his defeat, looks up with fierce determination, declaring he will never, vowing, "Stubborn, lose to you," he finishes, his eyes burning with a vow of future triumph. Ma Jin-young bows respectfully, acknowledging his honor, while Cheon Yura encourages him to grow stronger for their next meeting, baffling Jin Yeomyung, who expected an outright rejection. Cheon Yura smiles kindly, advising Ma Jin-young to seek treatment for his wounds at the medicine hall. Ma Jin-young looks up with a bright smile, genuinely thanking Cheon Yura for her kindness despite his defeat. Jin Yeomyung internally questions the strange turn of events, wondering if he and Cheon Yura are truly meeting for the first time in this life. Tak! Cheon Yura's foot steps forward, signifying her deliberate approach. Jin Yeomyung is visibly startled as Cheon Yura says, "I've been waiting for you," leaving him internally questioning why she would be waiting. Jin Yeomyung muses that the little kid from the Ma clan was surprisingly decent in his performance against Cheon Yura. Observing, realizing. As Ma Jin-young is carried away, Jin Yeomyung internally speculates that if Cheon Yura easily defeated Ma Chul's brother, she must be even stronger. Ma Jin-young's continued defiance, even while being carried away, helps Jin Yeomyung finally grasp the true nature of the engagement trials. Jin Yeomyung stands apprehensively as Cheon Yura's voice warns, "If you fail to meet my expectations." Cheon Yura, holding her sword, delivers her chilling follow-up with a smirk, "I'll be very disappointed." Hwang, the demonic cult's complex is shown under attack, illustrating the brute force approach prevalent within its ranks, solving everything through raw power. Jin Yeomyung is utterly shocked as Cheon Yura immediately goes for a lethal blow, asking, "Going for the head from the start?" Swish! Cheon Yura lunges with a deadly attack, leaving Jin Yeomyung to question internally, "It's supposed to be a duel." Jin Yeomyung expresses disbelief at Cheon Yura using a killing move from the start, especially after she went easy on Ma Jin-yoon. Jin Yeomyung screams in frustration, calling Cheon Yura a psychotic lady for her ruthless aggression. The battle intensifies as Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura engage in a rapid, fierce exchange of blows. Cheon Yura's eyes glow with fierce determination, ready to continue her relentless assault. Jin Yeomyung, in a panic, tries to backtrack on his insult, stammering, "No, I didn't mean that." Kiwiak, Cheon Yura's powerful attack lands, sending Jin Yeomyung reeling from the overwhelming impact. Damn it. Jin Yeomyung curses internally, overwhelmed by the attack. Fierce Kang! Their swords clash with incredible force, the battle intensifying. Jin Yeomyung plans to take a few hits and quickly wrap up the intense duel. His teeth grit in surprise and pain as he questions her abilities. Jin Yeomyung stares in utter shock, his sword ready, as he senses something new. Wake! Cheon Yura unleashes her fury, accusing Jin Yeomyung of hiding his true strength. Horrified, Jin Yeomyung is horrified, wondering how she knew, and questions if he's seeing sword aura. He internally recalls that she only deflected Ma Jin-yoon's earlier strikes. Her hand grips the sword hilt with unwavering power, ready for the next move. Kaing! Jin Yeomyung is stunned, realizing she's unleashing sword aura against him. Cheon Yura lunges forward with deadly intent, her sword enveloped in a potent aura. K-A-E-K. Kwadang! Jin Yeomyung is sent reeling back, clearly overwhelmed by the force. Pained, he coughs, clutching his chest in undeniable pain. Cheon Yura stands over the fallen Jin Yeomyung, accusing him of faking a loss while hiding his true power. How dare you! Cheon Yura, engulfed in dark energy, demands he finally reveal his full strength. Jin Yeomyung insists he has never once fought insincerely. Cheon Yura's eyes blaze with fury, accusing him of feigning ignorance to the very end. He internally clarifies that his sincerity was never about winning this duel, only his truth. A chilling thought from Cheon Yura warns of dire consequences if he intended to deceive her. Cheon Yura prepares a fatal blow, declaring she will kill him as he wishes. Alarmed, a frantic attendant cries out in alarm for his young master. Cheonk. An elder grimly observes that if Jin Yeomyung can't block this, he will surely die. The scene highlights the deadly heaven-slaying demon sword art and its 6 phantom demon strikes. Tack! Surrounded by phantom blades, Cheon Yura lunges forward, and Jin Yeomyung grimly realizes, here she comes. PA back! Jin Yeomyung activates the Ten-Fang Divine Sword Art, but struggles with an erg. PIAT. A sharp strike grazes Jin Yeomyung's cheek, leaving a painful mark. Narrowly avoiding HWAAK, Cheon Yura's swift attack narrowly misses Jin Yeomyung's neck, a hair's breadth from lethal. Explosive Kang. Kaik. Their swords meet with an explosive force, shaking the very ground. PAAT. The shockwave sends Jin Yeomyung flying backward from the powerful clash. JEORIT. Trembling, Jin Yeomyung declares he managed to block the attack. Cheon Yura smiles menacingly, asking Jin Yeomyung what he actually blocked. Horrified, his eyes widen in horror as a fresh wound appears on his face, revealing her true intent. Jin Yeomyung internally curses, unable to believe she, at only 18, can already use enhanced aura. He grudgingly acknowledges Cheon Yura had already surpassed the peak realm at her young age. SSEAEK. He thinks this level of power is truly insane, even for her. Jin Yeomyung's face is strained and covered in sweat, pushed to his absolute limit. His eye slowly opens and he questions, bewildered, "I'm not dead?" A shadowy figure calmly reproaches Cheon Yura for losing her temper, implying her attack could have destroyed the cult. Jin Yeomyung's eye widens in utter shock, realizing the gravity of the situation. Attack! A hand gently touches the ground, signaling the sudden end of the battle. Reverend! The heavenly demon descends, heralded by cries of "All hail the heavenly demon!" As everyone bows in respect, the supreme leader sternly tells Cheon Yura she nearly ignited a civil war in the divine cult. Heavenly demon Cheon Taejong, the third in 1,000 years to be supreme, and Grand Master of the demonic faction. An elder worries that a civil war between the clans would draw in all their supporters. Strategic, he fears the Orthodox alliance would pounce if the cult's forces were distracted by internal strife. Jin Yeomyung, though agreeing, doubts his father, the Asura king, would spark war over a child he abandoned. Cheon Yura's hand subtly trembles, betraying her suppressed fury. Her lips are tightly pressed, a clear sign of deep emotions being held back. Cheon Yura, bathed in an aura, grudgingly apologizes, but Jin Yeomyung replies, "It's fine." Jin Yeomyung is utterly astonished that the heartless demonic empress, Cheon Yura, would ever apologize. Informative. This hierarchical diagram represents the heavenly demon divine cult, where only the fittest survive. The elder remarks that the Jin Clan seems to have raised a proper heir, then questions Jin Yeomyung, asking if he isn't their own heir candidate. The divine cult's laws strictly forbid the patriarch, or heir of the 6 great clans, from becoming the partner of the young cult leader. Jin Yeomyung reveals his qualifications were deemed insufficient, leading to his younger brother being chosen as the Jin Clan's heir instead. The elder stares in disbelief, questioning how Jin Yeomyung's qualifications could possibly be considered insufficient. The elder recalls the duel, thinking that Jin Yeomyung had clearly used powerful sword aura earlier. The elder chuckles, then directly asks if Jin Yeomyung is indeed not his clan's heir, to which Jin Yeomyung confirms he is only there to fulfill his duty. The heavenly demon sternly instructs Jin Yeomyung to see his duty through to the very end, leaving him utterly bewildered. The heavenly demon announces that the Jin Clan will be informed when the next exchange is scheduled, while Cheon Yura's fury barely subsides. Mellifluous. The heavenly demon adds, hoping to see Jin Yeomyung getting along well with his dear Yura again soon. The heavenly demon, with a stern gaze, presses Jin Yeomyung, demanding to know why he isn't answering. Jin Yeomyung bows, stating he understands the cult leader's command while internally fearing his own demise. And so, the heavenly demon departs, musing about sharing a drink with that rascal from the Jin Clan. Cheon Yura, still refusing a personal apology, admits that she was indeed the one who was tricked. She then accuses Jin Yeomyung, stating she knows he hates her, and that's why he put on an act during their duel. Dayak! Jin Yeomyung urgently interrupts Cheon Yura, who is begrudgingly accepting the cult leader's command, despite her unhappiness. Earnest Jin Yeomyung earnestly denies hating her, which elicits a shocked "what?" from Cheon Yura. His bruised face reflects his vulnerability and the pain he endured during their intense battle. His wide purple eyes betray the deep emotion swirling within him. Jin Yeomyung quickly clarifies he doesn't hate her in a romantic way, but out of admiration, desperately pleading with her not to misunderstand. Awkward, Jin Yeomyung awkwardly tries to explain his actions had nothing to do with her, but Cheon Yura clears her throat and tells him to wait. Cheon Yura asserts that during their current exchange, they are equals, and there is no need to call her the young cult leader. Jin Yeomyung, utterly confused, asks what he should call her instead. Gauk. Cheon Yura pauses, seemingly considering her answer to his question. Gentle. He decides he will call her Lady Cheon Yura. His frantic attendant praises him as truly incredible, to which Jin Yeomyung replies with an unenthusiastic, "Yes, yes, sure." Exuberant, the attendant excitedly exclaims that the patriarch will be thrilled with Jin Yeomyung's performance. Annoyed, the attendant grumbles internally, noticing that the brat from the Ma clan survived as well. Despite that, the attendant believes Jin Yeomyung earned the heavenly demon's own recognition. Weary, Jin Yeomyung laments his ruined, isolated training as he enters, greeted by an attendant and his younger brother, Jin Yeomyung, who welcomes him back. GWA back. Jin Yeomyung asks why his brother came to greet him personally, and Jin Yeomyung explains he heard about his training. Jin Yeomyung, Jin Yeomyung's younger brother, angrily accuses him of now aiming for the heir position. Jin Yeomyung calmly reminds his brother of the laws, but Jin Yeomyung scoffs, claiming a relationship with the cult leader is no obstacle. Jin Yeomyung's face contorts with rage as he declares he doesn't acknowledge Jin Yeomyung as his brother. Jin Yeomyung declares Jin Yeomyung doesn't belong in the Jin Clan, prompting a bald attendant to warn the second young master he's going too far, praising Jin Yeomyung's merit. Jin Yeomyung glares, contemptuously addressing the attendant as a former assassin. He questions how such a person dares to intrude on a discussion between direct descendants of the Jin Clan. Dung, Imjil. The attendant visibly flinches at the insult, while an elder nearby looks on in dismay. Jin Yeomyung internally sighs in disbelief, wondering if his 16-year-old brother is truly serious with such outrageous talk. Jin Yeomyung, looking resolute, declares he'll have to fix his brother's rotten attitude, provoking a faint "How dare you" from Jin Yeomyung. Jin Yeomyung stares in utter shock, demanding to know if his brother is serious. Sinister. Udeuk. Jin Yeomyung cracks his knuckles, a sinister smile spreading across his face as he notes they've never actually fought before. Biu, bung. Jin Yeomyung lunges forward, mockingly asking why Jin Yeomyung keeps running away like a rat, unable to land a single hit. Jin Yeomyung's face distorts with rage as he screams his intent to cripple Jin Yeomyung. Jin Yeomyung blocks a kick with his leg and counters with a punch, silencing his brother as he reveals he challenged him for 3 reasons. Biu-ung. As Jin Yeomyung reels from the impact, Jin Yeomyung states his first reason. Even as one of the 6 demon dragons, there's always someone stronger. Chabak. Jin Yeomyung strikes again, stating his second reason as Jin Yeomyung cries out in pain. Jin Yeomyung's second reason is revealed. His brother dared to insult the honor of the Jin Clan, which he will one day lead. The surrounding attendants and elders watch in astonishment, remarking how the first young master has changed from a slacker to someone so serious, completely overwhelming his demon dragon brother. Jin Yeomyung, now kneeling and defeated, quietly states he will take his brother's advice seriously. Jin Yeomyung, standing over his defeated brother, declares Jin Yeomyung cannot expect the same results next time and demands he hear his final reason. OSSAK. Jin Yeomyung recoils in pure terror, demanding to know what his brother is doing. With a menacing smile and dark aura emanating from him, Jin Yeomyung reveals his third reason, Jin Yeomyung's profound lack of respect for his older brother. Jin Yeomyung, utterly shocked, questions when his brother learned to use sword aura, unable to fathom the change. Arg! From above, Jin Yeomyung's voice echoes, proclaiming that true etiquette is demonstrated through action, not words alone. Peaceful. The crescent moon hangs in the tranquil night sky, as the scene shifts to a quiet estate. The Jin Clan patriarch, musing in his private chambers, remarks on the impressive stunt Jin Yeomyung pulled during the recent exchange. JJYUP. The patriarch sips his tea, contentedly observing that the heavenly demon has continued to praise Jin Yeomyung. Ku, the patriarch laughs, amused by the cult leader's praise for his role in raising such a talent for his own daughter. The patriarch, looking keenly at his son, asks directly if Jin Yeomyung now wishes to become the Jin Clan's heir. Jin Yeomyung's eyes narrow slightly, reflecting his deep contemplation of the surprising offer. Oh ho! Jin Yeomyung kneels, humbly suggesting the heir position be given to Jin Yeomyung, claiming his brother has consistently proven more valuable. Despite his words, Jin Yeomyung's eyes reveal a keen strategic resolve. Calculated. He further explains his true intent, to serve the young cult leader and elevate the Jin Clan's prestige from within the cult. JJOL. The patriarch pours a drink, acknowledging Jin Yeomyung's seemingly renewed commitment to their clan's honor. Jin Yeomyung confidently outlines his strategy. While other clans waste potential on heir struggles, he and Jin Yeomyung will build a solid foundation. Ambitious, he finishes, proclaiming that in the next generation, the Jin Clan will undoubtedly rise to become the greatest among the 6. Jack! The patriarch sets his cup down, declaring his full approval for this strategic vision. The patriarch challenges Jin Yeomyung to make it a reality, and his son confidently vows to accomplish it. Good, the patriarch affirms, praising Jin Yeomyung's recent impressive growth and pledging his full support as a father. The patriarch then offers his son anything he desires, asking if there's anything he wants. Jin Yeomyung responds, proposing they investigate the shadowy organizations, having forfeited his isolated training. Jin Yeomyung muses that the heavenly demon's reign is too solid for open threats, so the shadow organizations must be operating covertly. Scheming, he contemplates the internal divisions within the Cheon Clan itself, then casually asks for something soft, humorously avoiding anything difficult. Wagajak, he takes a satisfying, crisp bite from a peach. Devious, Wagajak, Jin Yeomyung muses that his investigation could unearth a trump card to pressure the young cult leader in the future. Startled, Jin Yeomyung turns, demanding to know why Jin Yeomyung is still following him. Curious, Jin Yeomyung explains his curiosity about Jin Yeomyung's newfound strength, prompting Jin Yeomyung to silently question bringing him along. Jin Yeomyung advises his brother to simply take care of himself, to which Jin Yeomyung smugly agrees. They enter a shadowy archway, as Jin Yeomyung announces their destination, the infamous black market. Jin Yeomyung stares in disbelief, questioning if the black market isn't a haven for illegal goods and cult lawbreakers. Pishik, Jin Yeomyung chuckles, instructing his brother to remember that in the Thousand Mountains, the word illegal barely exists. Dial Juriak, Jin Yeomyung's hand subtly grasps his wrapped sword hilt, ready for anything. Jin Yeomyung reveals that the entire black market operates under the subtle influence of one of the 6 great clans. He adds, building suspense, that the particular place they are heading to is very specific. Jin Yeomyung questions their destination, while Jin Yeomyung internally observes the place looks exactly as he remembered from his inner administrator days. Grand. They arrive at the Grand Building, its sign clearly marking it as the Hidden Gold Pavilion. Jin Yeomyung dramatically opens the grand doors, announcing, "This is the Hidden Gold Pavilion." Impactful kick. Okay. Jin Yeomyung declares this grand building is the true power, controlling the entire black market. An older man, the apparent leader, welcomes the esteemed guests of the Jin Clan, then questions what brings them to his domain. Jin Yeomyung replies with sarcasm, stating their business is not for polite conversation, and demands to see the top person in charge. The older man keeps smiling, confidently stating he is the one in charge, and introducing himself as Gunjong, the Golden Crow Demon. Jin Yeomyung, unimpressed, declares that to face the Jin Clan's eldest son, at least someone from the Sa clan should appear. Shocked, GGWAAAK. Gunjong's relaxed demeanor cracks, and he stares in shock, demanding to know how Jin Yeomyung knew. Jin Yeomyung, with a wide, innocent smile, feigns ignorance, asking, "Know what?" His eye glints as he directly states his knowledge. This place is the intelligence division of the Black Gold's Sa clan. Suwak! Gunjong visibly trembles as Jin Yeomyung sternly repeats his question, while Gunjong, stunned, labels him awfully bold. Slap! Jin Yeomyung delivers a shocking slap across Gunjong's face, stating he knows how to hit those who lack respect. Jin Yeomyung scolds Gunjong, a mere Sa clan proxy, for daring to emit killing intent and gripping a hidden weapon in his sleeve. As another figure, Lady Sa, steps forward, Jin Yeomyung greets her with a knowing smile. "Nice to see you again." The Sa clan leader, Sa Bion, is revealed as a direct descendant, making Jin Yeomyung's knowledge of her clan's hidden territory even more impressive. It's further revealed that Sa Bion holds a surprising side job as the young cult leader's personal maid. A past memory shows Sa Bion lending her sword to Jin Yeomyung during a past exchange, solidifying their prior connection. Sa Bion questions Jin Yeomyung's true purpose for visiting, to which he reveals strange happenings in the Red Lantern District and back alleys. Jin Yeomyung casually mentions black-spotted blood, completely startling both Gunjong and Sa Bion with his precise knowledge. Jin Yeomyung recalls his encounter with Wol Yang from the 7-star courtesan house, who had gossiped about the disturbing, quote, black-spotted blood phenomenon. Sabion expresses disgust at the source of his information, then skeptically presses him for more details. Speculative. A vast, ominous landscape suggests the deep-rooted nature of the schemes, indicating the, quote, black-spotted iron must be part of a larger, long-running plot. Sabion confirms the strange incidents originate outside the cult, suspecting a subordinate branch of one of the 6 great clans is behind it. Jin Yeomyung expresses disappointment in the Sa clan's intelligence network, then turns to leave with his bewildered brother, but Sabion quickly stops them. Jin Yeomyung, amused, wonders what new development has prompted their halt. Okay, I will read the text back to you. Stern, Sabion, with a firm demeanor, states that the Jin Clan will be assigned to oversee the investigation. Jin Yeomyung confidently accepts the challenge, asserting he will take full responsibility for resolving the matter. Jin Yeomyung and his brother depart from the hidden gold pavilion, leaving Sabion and Ogunjong to observe their exit. As they vanish, Sabion reports their departure, addressing the unseen young cult leader. The young cult leader is seen in close-up, her expression thoughtful and subtly concerned. Curious, the young cult leader remarks to an elder that Jin Yeomyung doesn't seem to realize the extent of his commitment, questioning if he was truly serious. The elder begins to explain his perspective, cautioning that it might sound strange. The elder reveals Jin Yeomyung's true focus during the match was not victory, but the young cult leader herself, shown in a brief flashback. The young cult leader reacts with a frustrated huff, admitting the elder's words made her see Jin Yeomyung differently, and then questions the mention of Woolyong. The scene shifts to Unru Valley, identified as the southernmost, arduous, and hidden valley of the heavenly demon divine cult. This desolate valley is a lawless zone that even most clans avoid due to its treacherous nature. Resolute Jin Yeomyung declares they must enter the Tiger's Den, Unru Valley, to continue the investigation, despite Black Dagger number 7's reluctance and fear of being eaten. Jin Yeomyung, with a subtle threat to report his cowardice to Lady Beyond, silences Black Dagger number 7, who quickly apologizes. Doubtful, Black Dagger number 7 questions the feasibility of gathering intel in such a lawless and dangerous place. Jin Yeomyung confidently advises Black Dagger number 7 to observe closely, explaining that information can be surprisingly easier to find in unexpected places. Jin Yeomyung makes a familiar gesture, his mind clearly working, as he prepares to uncover secrets in this unique environment. Wary. As they navigate the desolate landscape, Jin Yeomyung senses they are being watched, growing increasingly wary. Observant. The source of the observation is subtly revealed. A large, shadowy figure looms nearby, keeping a close eye on them. Jin Yeomyung grows annoyed, vowing not to tolerate continuous surveillance once they enter the building. Lush, red-petaled plants line the path, adding a vibrant yet subtly unsettling touch to the valley's flora. As they walk through a field of flourishing plants, Jin Yeomyung asks if they are being cultivated, and Jin Yeomyung confirms it. Black Dagger number 7 finds a strange charm in the cultivated plants of the lawless valley. A hand reaches out towards the plants, reflecting on how cultivating such life might bring peace to those driven from the cult. Okay, here's the text you provided. Jin Yeomyung is startled, identifying the plants as marijuana, silently noting Black Dagger number 7's obliviousness, and sensing someone else nearby. The perspective shifts to an unseen individual, whose legs and spiked weapon are visible, as they declare the newcomer's presence is no coincidence. The group is abruptly confronted by 2 menacing thugs, one scarred, who aggressively order them to leave or face injury. Ha! Jin Yeomyung dismissively assesses the thugs as petty, then confidently states he's not leaving, intending to meet their leader. Ha! The scarred thug, provoked by Jin Yeomyung's audacity, brandishes his weapon, declaring the noble-looking visitors are now due for a beating. P.A. A group of thugs charges forward, shouting orders to break arms, as they prepare to violently attack. Black Dagger number 7 steps back, declaring himself a non-combatant specializing in preemptive strikes, while Jin Yeomyung calmly states he expected nothing less. Vicious. The thugs' faces contort in vicious rage as they scream orders to attack and kill their targets. Swoop. Jin Yeomyung's hand grips his sword hilt, a resigned thought passing through his mind. If I really die here. He finishes his thought with a smirk, asserting that if he perishes here, his attackers will be the ones in ultimate trouble. Jin Yeomyung, confused, reflects on Jin Yeomyung's prior deception about the courtesan house and a nickname given by Ji Chil. The vast, imposing landscape of Yunru Valley is displayed, its rocky terrain hinting at hidden paths and turbulent winds. A robed man stands before a simple building in the valley, remarking on the unexpected arrival as a, quote, special occasion. The robed man, identified as the third elder, greets Jin Yeomyung's group, noting their unexpected arrival with guests, to which Jin Yeomyung offers an apology. Welcoming, the third elder smiles warmly, expressing honor at meeting a noble from one of the 6 great clans. Charming but calculating, Jin Yeomyung, maintaining his confident smile, presses the third elder on the exact location of the drug's origin, offering a substantial reward if he guesses correctly. The third elder is visibly shocked, suddenly comprehending the vast wealth and influence the 6 great clans, including the Jin, wield. The third elder, making an assumption based on the past confrontation, questions if Jin Yeomyung is part of the Hidden Shadowso clan. The third elder explains that their supplier is the Hwan clan, and the Hidden Shadowso clan has been their generational enemy. Jin Yeomyung acknowledges the Hwan clan's involvement, but then, with a confident smirk, corrects the elder, revealing his true name is Jin Yeomyung. Utterly dumbfounded. Demon! The third elder is absolutely dumbfounded to realize he's speaking to the first young master of the heavenly demon Jin Clan, completely taken aback by his unexpected appearance and physique. Black Dagger, number 7, ever cautious, questions the wisdom of revealing their identity so openly, especially if this elder is connected to the black clotted blood. Jin Yeomyung casually dismisses the concern, confident that his clan's immense power will easily resolve any issues by simply crushing the opposition. The third elder immediately kneels, respectfully asking Jin Yeomyung what brings a noble of the Jin family to their humble abode. Startled, Jin Yeomyung sternly cuts to the chase, demanding answers about the, quote, black clotted blood. With a knowing smirk, Jin Yeomyung states he heard their location is the source of the drug and has come to learn more about it. Huck, Jin Yeomyung presents a small pouch, subtly suggesting it might lighten that tongue and encourage cooperation. Catch! The surprised third elder quickly reaches out, catching the pouch Jin Yeomyung tossed. Gold? The third elder's eyes widen in absolute disbelief and joy as he discovers the pouch is filled with gold. Readily disclosing fluently. Suddenly, the third elder readily discloses that the black clotted blood originates externally and merely passes through their hands, never truly being handled by them. Fluently, he further clarifies that their sole purpose is to produce drugs as a direct supply for the Hwan clan. He emphatically denies distributing it to the entertainment districts or back alleys, implying their operations are more controlled than Jin Yeomyung thought. Jin Yeomyung, now thoughtful, presses the elder for information on who is actually distributing the drug to the streets. Kong Kong Kong. Before the third elder can finish revealing the primary distributors, a panicked man rushes in, interrupting him with an urgent warning. Frantically alarming. The panicked man frantically yells that, "It's the intruders!" causing Jin Yeomyung and Black Dagger number 7 to exchange confused glances, wondering if he means them. In a grim scene of devastation, a formidable woman in black stands over numerous fallen, bloody bodies, her sword indicating a recent battle. Her gaze is intense and resolute, showing no remorse for the swift and brutal efficiency with which she handled the situation. Nearby, a man lies peacefully unconscious against a tree, his spiked mace discarded beside him. Frantically alerting Team Leader RR, another man runs frantically across the landscape, shouting to the apparent sleeper that the young cult leader has appeared. Yan Myange, the spy squad's 17th team leader, sits up groggily, questioning if his subordinate started drinking, which the man quickly denies. Awestruck recounting. In a terrifying flashback, the subordinate recounts how the woman cut down a dozen men from the venomous snail sect in one fell swoop. Yan Myange's face contorts in horrified realization, asking if this formidable woman could be a major figure from the 6 clans, which his subordinate confirms with a yes. Pondering gravely, he gravely ponders which other women from the 6 clans, besides the young cult leader, could possibly possess such incredible might. He considers the powerful women he knows, So Yu from the So clan, Sa Byeon from the Sa clan, and even the formidable twins from the Pa clan. He narrows his eyes, desperately hoping it isn't the person they are currently targeting. The mace lies on the ground as Jin Yeomyung, with newfound urgency, commands his subordinate to gather the kids. Not our kids, you dumbass. Revealing a greater threat, a hidden force, the killing demons dispatched from above, are revealed to be ensuring the black clotted blood's smooth supply, prompting the call for a killer squad. Jin Yeomyung and Black Dagger number 7 are seen facing a much larger, formidable presence, shrouded in mist. A masked woman warns of the risk of being caught if they get too close, and the young cult leader calmly acknowledges her concern. The masked woman observes that this is a vast cannabis cultivation area, questioning why their cult leaves such a significant operation untouched. The young cult leader explains this is a critical resource for the Hwan clan's formation, and they intentionally keep defenses lax to easily lure and eliminate intruders. She muses thoughtfully, wondering if Jin Yeomyung knew this crucial fact before he even arrived at the valley. Young cult leader. A masked subordinate calls out as the young cult leader sternly orders them to continue their pursuit. Mumble. A close-up on Jin Yeomyung's eyes reveals a quiet, playful thought. I like you, though. The young cult leader reflects on her lordship's wisdom, emphasizing the importance of distinguishing friends from foes, especially given her many inherent enemies. Impressed, a masked subordinate notes the young cult leader's concern for her leadership, while the leader herself wonders aloud if this whole situation isn't actually quite fun. The young cult leader speculates excitedly that if a true recluse exists, they would undoubtedly be found in a place like this. Xiang! Impulsively, the young cult leader charges forward, expressing her strong desire to meet this recluse, despite a masked subordinate's protests that such elders are plentiful. Standing amidst the devastated village, the young cult leader observes that not only is there no recluse to be found, but something else feels strange. Perplexed and frustrated, she expresses her frustration, perplexed that Jin Yeomyung could enter without resistance, while she keeps getting inexplicably blocked. Jin Yeomyung, feigning confusion about any recluse, realizes the pervasive gaze he felt was, indeed, from the young cult leader all along. Jin Yeomyung extends his hand, hesitantly suggesting they let's go together for now, amidst the fallen bodies and tense atmosphere. Chok chok! Footsteps echo as an amazed voice remarks, "This is amazing. I never thought that guy was telling the truth." Questioning and wary, here they come again. The young cult leader looks on with a wary and questioning gaze, anticipating further developments. The mace-wielding man declares the young cult leader will be their prisoner, but she demands to know his identity, while another questions his intent. The man grins, telling her she only needs to come along quietly. The masked woman watches as her terrified subordinates quickly make their escape, realizing the threat is substantial. The young cult leader identifies the man as a beggar clan member, then decides they should spare him to extract valuable information. The young cult leader lists names, ordering her masked subordinates, Dark Shadow, Protective Shadow, and Fist Shadow. Intensely focused, with fierce red eyes, the young cult leader concludes her order, telling Beyond to assist her. Young cult leader. The woman in the wide-brimmed hat commands her dark butterflies to protect young master Jin Yeomyung. Stunned realization. Question mark exclamation point. 3 cult members stare in shock, realizing that Chilo, the mysterious woman, was actually Sa Byeon. The mace-wielding man dismisses their quote-quote strategy, boasting that none of the Protective Hall's escorts are at peak level. Calmly assessing, he then brags that his side has an exceptional master at the peak, to which the young cult leader questions how he knows so much about their cult. Heh, of course. The man confidently states he knows a great deal, especially about the Cheon family. Reading. Building resolve. The young cult leader's lips part slightly, her expression hardening in silent preparation. Shua, powerful dark energy swirls around the young cult leader as she menacingly commands the quote, insects to listen closely, startling the other cultivators. The mace-wielding man, now visibly terrified by her aura, frantically shouts for his companions to attack. With glowing red eyes, the young cult leader coldly declares that not a single one of them will leave the mountain alive. Kook! She unleashes a brutal attack, her dark energy slicing through the men as blood splatters, swiftly eliminating multiple opponents. Shake. Shaya, the young cult leader, grins with a satisfied, almost playful expression amidst the chaos. Puck! Huck! She delivers another devastating blow with a crescent of dark energy, eliciting a pain cry. Derisively contemptuous, with a chilling smirk, she gazes down at her vanquished foes, repeating her earlier insult. You insects. A cult member trembles in terror behind a log amidst the fallen, desperately trying to get back on his feet. Desperate defiance. Koruk. He grabs his weapon, defiantly declaring he won't let it end like this. Quack. His face contorts in a desperate snarl, fueled by a mixture of anger and fear. You! The young cult leader calmly stares down the man, promising to kill him, while he stares back in disbelief. Jin Yeomyung. The man screams out Jin Yeomyung's name in a desperate, last-ditch plea for help. Jin Yeomyung observes, amused and slightly annoyed that the man is acting so recklessly despite his lack of guards. Jin Yeomyung's gaze drops, noticing something unexpected about to happen at his feet. Jin Yeomyung reels back in utter bewilderment as the young cult leader suddenly moves to kick him. Jin Yeomyung. The cult member screams, realizing Jin Yeomyung, despite being past his prime, is still a formidable peak-level expert. Pang. It's too late. The young cult leader moves with blinding speed, intent on landing a blow on Jin Yeomyung. Jokyak. Jin Yeomyung swiftly brings up his mace, intercepting the attack with a solid block. UG. While the cult member watches, Jin Yeomyung delivers a counterblow to his face. Tongue. He lands on the ground, comically lamenting that his attempt to look cool ended with him sprawled out, awaiting ridicule. Flabbergasted, he blocked it? How is that possible? The two masked cult members stare in utter disbelief, questioning how the attack was blocked. The shocked attacker demands to know why Jin Yeomyung isn't dead, to which Jin Yeomyung exasperatedly calls him a crazy psycho. Siak. The furious man insists Jin Yeomyung's skull should have split open, preparing for another fatal blow. As expected, Sabyeon calmly notes that Jin Yeomyung's power level is indeed sufficient to withstand her assault. Jin Yeomyung gasps in surprise, realizing she had been intentionally testing his true skill. Gangcha! The young cult leader casually asks if he's satisfied with her confirmed skill, to which Jin Yeomyung replies, very much so. The defeated man lets out an internal curse, damning the heavenly demon divine cult. Damn it, kill me! The mace-wielding man, utterly broken, begs to be put out of his misery. Jin Yeomyung dismisses the plea, explaining he wouldn't kill someone about to provide valuable testimony on the black-clotted blood. The mace-wielding man sweats, pretending ignorance about the quote friend log. Jin Yeomyung's eyes glow purple as he silently acknowledges his true affiliation with the demonic cult. Shook! Jin Yeomyung casually flexes his hand, musing that despite slacking in martial arts, he was very motivated to learn a few particular things. Horrified protest. Wait! The mace-wielding man's eyes bulge in horror, frantically pleading with Jin Yeomyung to wait. Jin Yeomyung flashes a wide, unsettling smile, telling the man to please remain silent, as this is his first time doing it for real, and he wants to enjoy it. Jin Yeomyung apologizes to Sabyeon for getting her unnecessarily involved, but she dismisses it as fine, though noting a slight aftertaste. Young Master Jin. Jin Yeomyung formally addresses Black Dagger number 7 as Miss Black Flying 7th Tiger, prompting a cautious reply. With a knowing gaze, Black Dagger number 7 asks Jin Yeomyung what he would do if he completely passed the young cult leader's test. Then, Jin Yeomyung gazes into the distance, stating he'd try chasing one of the dreams he had long given up on. The mace-wielding man, Gyeon Myunggae, begs Jin Yeomyung to stop, promising to reveal everything, as Jin Yeomyung casually hums. A woman observes, realizing Jin Yeomyung's intense actions stem from a deeper motive than just a courtesan. Yeomyung confirms he is from the beggar clan, and his superior partnered with an unknown Cheon clan member. Sabion reacts with surprise, connecting the Cheon clan directly to the ongoing drug case. Yeomyung further reveals his men were from the Hidden Trace Manor in Guryu Fortress. The woman notes the third elder also mentioned Guryu Fortress, explaining Hidden Trace Manor was founded by a retired Ghost Slayer unit member. Sabion is shocked, realizing this is the same unit Ji Chill used to be part of. A chilling image of a disciplined unit appears, identified as the Demon Emperor's Ghost Slayer unit. Jin Yeomyung advises Sabion to return, stating the situation has escalated beyond their solo handling. Strategic, he explains that the ambush has made the situation too complex for them to manage alone. Jin Yeomyung details how the enemy operates in cells, implying Hidden Trace Manor is not their main base, and they will vanish if contact is lost. He grimly confirms they will erase all traces if contact is lost, showcasing the remnants of Yeomyung's transformed body. The woman asks Jin Yeomyung his next move, and he confidently states he will restart from the lower sect due to new variables, like the Tyrant Wolf sect. Kurok, the young cult leader's lips twitch, and she asserts there is a better way to handle the situation. She argues with Jin Yeomyung that no one has time to assemble a full force for an assault, which he acknowledges. Resolute. With fiery determination, the young cult leader declares she will go to them herself, as an official visit will prevent open trickery. Jin Yeomyung firmly refuses, stating he cannot allow her to risk her life over this matter. Kurok, the young cult leader, clenches her fist, challenging if he truly believes this situation is nothing. Jin Yeomyung replies that compared to her life, nothing else holds greater weight. Simyak, the young cult leader, expresses her regret that her plan went off track because of him, and she wishes to compensate for it. Jin Yeomyung subtly exhales, his expression softening as he gazes at her. An inner thought bubble reveals Jin Yeomyung fell for her precisely because of her resolve. The scene shifts to the outer edges of the 10,000 mountains, showcasing a new, vast landscape. Koang! Sabion, the young cult leader, makes a forceful entrance by kicking open a door. Kamjag, the third master of Hidden Trace Manor, is utterly shocked by the young cult leader's sudden arrival. The young cult leader, accompanied by her cult members, notes her intended kidnapping target has surprisingly walked directly into their base. The third master bows profusely, welcoming the young cult leader and politely inquiring about the purpose of her visit. The young cult leader smiles, asking if his grandfather was part of the Demon Emperor's Ghost Slayer unit, and stating she wishes to correct her neglect of those who serve the Cheon clan. Kweok, cook, she comments on their busyness, remarking it looks like they are packing up in a hurry. Various men are shown packing boxes, reinforcing the young cult leader's observation of hurried preparations for departure. Taunting. She then subtly taunts them, asking if they aren't even going to offer a guest a cup of tea. The third master, with a smile, explains that in the 10,000 mountains, the young cult leader is never just a guest and invites her inside. A masked figure discreetly asks an assassination master what their next move should be. Jeeb! Jeeb! The assassination master commands they must capture the young cult leader alive this time, noting the wear and tear suggests frequent visitors, while the third master chuckles nervously. The young cult leader sharply tells the third master to use proper honorifics, calling him an arrogant bastard. Zook! Zook! The third master chuckles, suggesting there's no need to pretend, as shadowy figures of the young cult leader's subordinates appear. Jew! Swords are drawn as the third master offers a peaceful surrender, but the young cult leader calmly states she has clearly gauged his level. The third master, agitated, mocks her, asking if she truly believes herself unstoppable for catching one of his life-slaying unit members. The young cult leader's expression hardens, a subtle tremor indicating her readiness to counter. Dioleong. The building begins to shift and rumble ominously. Kururok. Kakak. Kak. The young cult leader realizes she is caught in a mechanical formation technique as the floor and walls transform around her. The narrative flow briefly pauses with an interlude. Kururok. Kak. The mechanical formation technique continues to activate around the young cult leader, revealing itself as a trap. The young cult leader stands firmly on the shifting ground as the mechanical formation continues to take shape. The third master reveals the formation's name, the maze pursuing killing formation. The third master, surrounded by his armed men, smugly asks if they thought he brought them here without any preparation. It's noted that a formation of this scale must have required an enormous amount of money and manpower. A figure stands alone, and it's stated that such a massive undertaking could not have been established by a retired assassin alone. Cock! The young cult leader places her hand on her sword, stating she has much to hear from him, but first asks one crucial question. Confronting. As her masked subordinates stand ready, the young cult leader asks the third master if he is still the Cheon clan's dog or a traitor allied with outsiders. Tuok! The young cult leader lands firmly, acknowledging their hostile response to her presence. The third master reels back in shock, realizing her intent to interrogate him with sword chi, and starts to reveal something about the Ghostslayer unit. Swak! Yak! A sudden sharp attack cuts through, splattering red, presumably striking the third master. Surprised, Schwack. Yak! A cult member urgently warns the young cult leader to watch out as she reacts in shock to an unseen threat. AHA. Oh! The masked assassination master delivers a powerful, rapid strike with his blade. His face contorted with desperation, the third master commands the assassination master not to miss this chance to capture her. Tuong. Tuong. Blood splatters as the assassination master coldly states that a dog that fails to hunt deserves to be disposed of. Jin Yeomyung watches the unfolding events from afar, internally noting the masked figure's dangerous presence, while Sabion acknowledges his assessment. HMPH, the assassination master, with glowing eyes, scoffs, confident that information about the young cult leader's near-death experience will fetch a high price. Sabion grins, calling his self-assured demeanor confidence. Resolute PWEKUK, Sabion stands her ground, declaring that her heavenly demonic divine arts power does not fall short against any other cultivation technique. Zai. A swift blue stroke conveys the speed of an attack, accompanied by a dire message about the impossibility of closing the gap in experience. Wounded PUK, Sabion grunts, her shoulder bleeding from a painful hit. Pabak! The assassination master looms over her, declaring that the gap of experience cannot be narrowed as he prepares another strike. Pyong! Sabion is slammed against a wall, blood splattering from the forceful collision. A voice directly challenges Jin Yeomyung, setting the stage for a confrontation. Cheon Yura confidently asserts that her predictions about Jin Yeomyung were accurate. Jin Yeomyung smirks, remarking that others will value him for himself, not just his title. Yura asks Jin Yeomyung about his fight, and he admits the opponent was difficult, acknowledging the strength of the prestigious Great Sects. Jin Yeomyung notes Yura's confidence about the opponent's sect, which Yura confirms by explaining his unique swordsmanship. The masked figure assures them not to worry, causing Yura to realize with shock he is from the demon heaven Jin Clan. Pang. The masked man comments that their presence is an unexpected gain for him. Sweek. The masked opponent declares that the young cult leader must be eliminated. Jin Yeomyung's eyes widen in alarm as the masked figure's intent becomes clear. Jin Yeomyung flinches back, narrowly avoiding a swift attack. Jin Yeomyung, clenching his fist, realizes something critical about the assailant's identity. He confidently declares that the maze formation is now under his control, questioning why they believed he was alone. Jin Yeomyung explains that all his other resources are strategically deployed elsewhere. The masked opponent stands ready, sword in hand, his hidden gaze unwavering. So, the formation activates around Jin Yeomyung, glowing with potent energy. Jin Yeomyung provocatively asks if his opponent intends to cause a world-altering disturbance. The masked opponent's eyes glow with intense shock and fury at the implications. Jin Yeomyung questions the masked man's extreme reaction, but Yura urges him to focus on their immediate survival. Cheon Yura reveals that outside the formation, despite appearances, the area is engulfed in a sea of fire. She warns that any further delay means they will all perish together in the flames. Psyche, Jin Yeomyung smirks, acknowledging that despite the danger, they both refuse to flee. Attack! Cheon Yura steps forward, declaring she will show her own resolve. Ji-yoon from Chingcheng declares his identity, prepared for combat. Yura grimly notes that Ji-yoon revealing his identity means he plans to kill them, and Jin Yeomyung questions if Chingcheng is the true mastermind. Pat! Ji-yoon roars for them to ask Yama in hell, launching a furious attack. Yara asks Jin Yeomyung to coordinate their movements, and he assures her he will do his best. They leap, as Ji-yoon unleashes a powerful, swirling dark energy below. Explosive, impactful, Gwang! Ji-yoon's power erupts, creating a blinding flash of energy. Swift, numerous. Many sharp daggers swiftly fly through the air. Pababak! The masked opponent furiously deflects the incoming daggers, finding them quite annoying. Kang! As Yura calls out, their coordinated assault forces Ji-yoon to deflect, acknowledging the futility of blocking. Boom! Cheon Yura charges forward, her sword ready to strike. Pyogang, swords clash with a forceful parry. Strategic supporting Jin Yeomyung moves to interfere with the enemy's movements. Ji-yoon grits his teeth in frustration and anger. Yura's eyes glow intensely as she sharply commands them to fire. Surprising swift, Sweek! As Ji-yoon deflects, a shadowy entity called Bion emerges to assist him. Yura compliments Jin Yeomyung on their teamwork, and he admits it's a relief. Perceptive, discovering, Cheon Yura's eye focuses as she slowly begins to discern something critical. Ji-yoon becomes engulfed in dark energy, grimly stating he must now fight to the death. Ji-yoon, regretting the need for powerful techniques, prepares to unleash them, while Yura heroically tells Jin Yeomyung to run, promising to buy him time. Jebook. Yura notes the arrival of the protective hall, recognizing Ji-yoon's formidable enhanced sword chi, lamenting the situation. She observes that his enhanced sword chi is perfectly straight, unlike her own twisted version. Jin Yeomyung firmly rejects Yura's offer to sacrifice herself, surprising her. Determined, loyal. SUK, Jin Yeomyung, back-to-back with Yura, declares they will leave together, stating she never intended to run alone anyway. Cheon Yura's lips curve into a faint, appreciative smile. Jin Yeomyung instructs Yura to keep up as he uses coordinating chi, which she confirms she understands. Ji-yoon mocks their coordinating chi, then unleashes a furious Dia as his powerful sword ki plunges down. Intense, merging, Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura become enveloped in a swirling vortex of red and purple energy. Devastating rumbling. The surrounding buildings begin to shatter and crumble under the immense pressure. The powerful combined attack unleashed by Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura causes a blinding flash and a furious pained scream. Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura both grimace, enduring the immense pressure and backlash from their merged chi. Kuluk! Cheon Yura, battered from the fierce confrontation, coughs up blood. Ji-yoon stands over an injured Jin Yeomyung and a slumped Cheon Yura, acknowledging their surprising strength in the fight. Ji-yoon remarks that if they fought again later, the outcome might change, but quickly dismisses the possibility. Despite his injuries, Jin Yeomyung looks up, expressing how deeply moved he is that his life alone can serve the grand scheme. You bastard! Ji-yoon roars, furious at Jin Yeomyung's defiant and seemingly self-sacrificial words. The masked Bion looks utterly confused by the unexpected turn of events. PPAA. Suddenly, the Right Guardian slams into Bion, demanding to know who he thinks he is messing with. Cheol Pyodiok. Bion is sent sprawling across the ground by the Guardian's unexpected attack. Cheon Yura looks on, her eyes wide with shock and weariness. The Right Guardian kneels to Jin Yeomyung, who, still injured, greets him by stating he's late. The Right Guardian profusely apologizes, explaining that he received the message while he was away. Jin Yeomyung questions how the Right Guardian, protector of the cult leader and his family, could have been away, causing the Guardian to bow in shame. Jin Yeomyung notes that the defeated opponent, Ji-hyun, claimed to be an elder of Chingcheng, but speculates it could have been a pretense to incite an orthodox demonic war. Jin Yeomyung orders the Right Guardian to take Ji-yoon and interrogate him thoroughly, causing the Guardian to sweat nervously. Bokak, the Right Guardian, still apologetic, then continues his assault on Beyond. Kang, the Right Guardian bows repeatedly, begging forgiveness from Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura. Jin Yeomyung considers the Guardian's actions, wondering if his lateness was actually intentional. The narrator reveals the Right Guardian's true identity as Wang Cheonjeol, the divine cult's supreme expert. It is clarified that Wang Cheongeol had retired before the Guardian Hall's future betrayal, confirming he would not betray them now, hinting at a deeper strategy. Cheon Yura turns to Jin Yeomyung, regretting that the situation had escalated because of her own actions. Cheon Yura then solemnly vows that she will definitely repay this debt to Jin Yeomyung in the future. Amidst the smoldering ruins, Jin Yeomyung stands watching a gathering of people, contemplating the aftermath of the intense battle and fire. Jin Yeomyung calls for Ji-yu and a shadowy figure emerges from behind a wall. SSUK. Ji-yu steps forward silently to meet Jin Yeomyung. Ji-yu acknowledges Jin Yeomyung's call, affirming his presence as the young master's loyal subordinate. Jin Yeomyung asks for a report, and Ji-yu explains that most of the area was burned, limiting gains, but he found something significant. Ji-yu holds out 2 small pieces of paper, stating he found them on the corpse of the Hidden Trace Manor Master. Jin Yeomyung smirks, noting that this discovery was ironically due to the Right Guardian's delayed appearance. Ji-yu looks puzzled by Jin Yeomyung's comment, who clarifies he's talking to himself, before Jin Yeomyung's eyes widen in shock as he reads the papers, asking, "What is this? What's this?" The question echoes with stark surprise as Jin Yeomyung grasps the implications of his discovery. The paper is revealed to be a kill order for someone named Smoke at the 1001 Hall. Pondering, Jin Yeomyung questions the meaning of an assassination order from the 1001 Hall, clearly unfamiliar with it. Jin Yeomyung realizes the 1001 Hall is perfectly timed to replace the previously closed-off hall, prompting Ji-yu to ask for clarification. Jin Yeomyung smiles mysteriously, informing Ji-yu that they will be separated for a while due to this new plan. PWARDDOOON. Ji-yu reacts with comical horror at the thought of being separated from his master. Elsewhere, an elder in the divine cult expresses fury over drugs and heretical practices being brought into their sect. Other cult members passionately demand the annihilation of the Qingcheng sect and an immediate orthodox demon war. Calculated resolve. A wise, older leader with a long beard calmly states that the sect's retaliation must be precise, not reckless. Awestruck, 2 cult members look on in stunned awe, acknowledging the powerful presence of the heavenly demon. The heavenly demon asserts that they must first confirm whether the enemies are truly from the orthodox sects or merely pretending. The heavenly demon instructs the left guardian to begin the investigation, which he readily accepts. The heavenly demon clasps hands with the left guardian, formally entrusting him with the investigative command. Meanwhile, back at the demon heaven Jin Clan, members gossip about the eldest young master assisting the young cult leader, believing the 6 demon dragons will soon become 7. Jin Yeomyung stands before an elder, declaring his intention to enter the 1001 Hall. Kwang! The elder smashes a table in rage, shouting at Jin Yeomyung for being a crazy punk. The elder, with blazing eyes, angrily insists that Jin Yeomyung should enter the Demon Dragon Hall instead. Jin Yeomyung explains that Yewoon already handles connections in the Demon Dragon Hall, and his aim is to recruit new talents from the 1001 Hall. When questioned about going to a place of nobodies, Jin Yeomyung clarifies that he intends to preemptively recruit talents who might otherwise join rival clans. Jin Yeomyung explained his aim was to recruit new talents from the 1001 Hall before they joined rival clans like the Cheon Clan. Even last year, Ma Cheol-soo from the Ma Clan had graduated from the 1001 Hall with a similar objective. With a confident smile, Jin Yeomyung declared that he was certainly not inferior to Ma Cheol-soo. Indeed, the elder reacted with wide-eyed surprise, seemingly convinced by Jin Yeomyung's words. Jin Yeomyung then knelt, promising that with their support, he would nurture individuals to uphold the next generation of their clan. As Jin Yeomyung handed over an application form, a concerned brother questioned if he was serious about entering the 1001 Hall. Jin Yeomyung looked utterly weary, admitting that today alone, over 10 people had asked if he had gone mad. Shocked, the brother, aghast, reiterated the absurdity of a direct descendant from one of these 6 clans venturing there. Whispers spread among the cult members, linking the eldest young master's exile to him having endangered the young cult leader. Jin Yeomyung calmly reminded his brother that the founder of the 1001 Hall was none other than the first heavenly demon. Historically, the 1001 Hall's training was so brutal it caused many noble children to die, leading to the creation of the Demon Dragon Hall as an alternative before the intensity eventually decreased. Jin Yeomyung, with a determined smile, declared his goal was to experience the 1001 Hall's original, rigorous training regimen. This was the path that produced true warriors, those completely obsessed with martial arts. His brother looked puzzled, wondering why Jin Yeomyung was so suddenly obsessed with martial arts, especially when he wasn't even aiming for the clan leader position. Swa! Jin Yeomyung forcefully asserted that they all must become stronger. Because a great storm was rapidly approaching, Jin Yeomyung's brother flinched as Jin Yeomyung told him to practice what he taught, asking what he was even looking at. Jin Yeomyung walked away, cryptically stating that his brother would find out soon enough. The narrator commented that entering the 1001 Hall now was akin to running off to the military during a crucial family meeting. Delicate. A voice conveyed the young cult leader's inquiry regarding Jin Yeomyung's recent actions. "Are you crazy?" A messenger directly questioned Jin Yeomyung, who remained silent. Tak, the female messenger, with intense yellow eyes, pressed for a clear answer about Jin Yeomyung's intentions from the young cult leader. "Is that correct?" Jin Yeomyung clenched his fists, admitting he was driven by the realization of his own powerlessness. She listened as Jin Yeomyung lamented that if he had reached the early stages of the peak realm, he wouldn't have been defeated so easily. He cried out in frustration, and the messenger sarcastically told him to try and look as pitiful as possible. The messenger corrected him, stating that his previous confrontation absolutely counted as a defeat, hinting he needed to prepare for the future. Chia! Jin Yeomyung passionately declared that everything in their sect was proven through strength, and to stand beside the young cult leader, he needed to meet minimum qualifications. The messenger uttered, her expression shifting as if a new understanding dawned upon her. The messenger remarked that Jin Yeomyung and the young cult leader were quite similar, prompting him to ask how. She elaborated that the young cult leader also deeply blamed herself for her own shortcomings. Resolutely, the young cult leader decided to enter isolated training to overcome her weaknesses. With a sword at her side, she walked down a long corridor, dedicating herself to rigorous training. The messenger added that once the young cult leader emerged, she intended to compare notes with him. SSAK! Jin Yeomyung's eyes widened in horror, asking if she was planning to kill him. The scene shifted to a towering mountain as a trainer yelled at the climbers, demanding they move faster. The trainer barked at the struggling climbers, telling them not to relax their thighs and waist. An eye patch-wearing trainer on the ground sternly proclaimed that their future offered only 2 paths: conquer the peak or fall and perish. Jin Yeomyung groaned, struggling on the rock face, cursing the demonic cult bastards. "Seriously, I'll curse you, Grandpa," he wailed despairingly, questioning how his grandfather could have thrown him into such a place. TT_TT. A smiling, cartoonish vision of his grandfather chuckled, calling it a bit tough, making Jin Yeomyung shriek that it was far more than just a bit. Grave. He realized that if he fell from his current position, he would die instantly, regardless of his internal energy, as sharp weapons lay below. Resolute. He gripped the rock face tightly, resolved that he must survive this ordeal. Book! He dropped a rock, looking panicked, and reminded himself he needed to get back at his grandfather. He screamed as he lost his grip, plummeting backward. His eyes wide with terror, Jin Yeomyung continued to fall, sending loose rocks tumbling with him. Desperate Hwayak. 2 hands desperately reached out, one streaked with a crimson stain. Who dude EUK? Another climber miraculously caught Jin Yeomyung's hand, preventing his fatal fall. Yo, yo! Jin Yeomyung panted heavily, relief washing over his exhausted face. A smiling male climber, San Dojian, the 108th batch of the 1001 Hall, asked Jin Yeomyung if he was okay. Yo! KKEUNG. HEOK. TH. Thank you. Jin Yeomyung weakly offered his gratitude as they clung to the formidable peak. On the ground, San Dojian encouraged Jin Yeomyung that they must help each other and survive the rigorous training. Humbly embarrassed, San Dojian sheepishly denied being a great warrior, downplaying his own exceptional figure. From the ground, a female student, Baek Sang-ah, asked why, asserting that anyone who practices chivalry is a great warrior. San Dojian thanked Baek Sang-ah, but then cleared his throat, realizing that calling someone a great warrior was unusual in the demonic cult. Baek Sang-ah, despite her sweet expression, internally mused she should have pushed her down to reduce competition, revealing her true ruthless nature. Jin Yeomyung, looking at the 1001 Hall buildings, thought the intense physical training would soon decrease, shifting to theoretical training under a new leader. San Dojian confirmed that Senior Baek had said so, adding that someone incredible was about to enter the 1001 Hall. That incredible person was a direct descendant of the 6 divine demon clans, specifically the Demon Heaven Jin Clan. Baek Sang-ah reacted with confusion, wondering if this formidable figure was an exile. Cautiously resolving, she immediately resolved to avoid any pointless conflicts with such a powerful person. Back at the departure, Jin Yeomyung's brother wailed, questioning if he really had to go, but Jin Yeomyung calmly said it was already decided. When his brother cried about their unity, Jin Yeomyung got goosebumps and told him to behave, promising to call often from inside. Observing the other recruits, Jin Yeomyung noted that despite their varied levels, their gazes were sharp and promising. His own red eyes gleamed with fierce determination and focus. A subtle, confident smile played on Jin Yeomyung's lips. Jin Yeomyung and 2 other students walked purposefully towards a bright light, leaving the past behind. Hopeful, he internally hoped to find someone truly impressive among the new talents. Finally, all the new recruits stood assembled as a voice grandly welcomed them to the 1001 Hall. The masked 1001 Hall leader, Jo Jin-sung, chuckled, complimenting the sharpness and brightness of their gazes. Nearby, 2 students whispered about the masked man being the hall leader, finding him strange and lacking dignity. Whack! Jo Jin-sung suddenly changed, radiating intense killing intent as he sternly commanded the brats to listen carefully. The students gasped and groaned, clearly feeling overwhelmed by the hall leader's formidable killing intent, though Jin Yeomyung appeared steadfast. Defining the hall leader explained that the 1001 Hall was both an educational institution and a merciless place governed by the cult's iron law of survival of the fittest. Shocked, the words left the new students wide-eyed and stunned by the harsh reality. The hall leader then gestured to the students who had entered a year prior, asking if the new recruits understood how they differed. One student quietly noted the distinction was wounds. Jin Yeomyung, however, offered a more profound insight, simply stating, quote, gaze. Jo Jin-sung confirmed Jin Yeomyung was correct, complimenting his sharp eyes despite not knowing his identity. Realizing connections, he then explained that the older students had already experienced life-and-death combat and survived, prompting Jin Yeomyung to pause, asking, wait a minute. Connecting the dots, he suddenly recognized the identity of a familiar figure among the senior students. It was unit leader San Dojian, and Jin Yeomyung was utterly amazed. An elder, presumably the one who recommended Jin Yeomyung, affirmed there was no doubt about San Dojian's exceptional talent. San Dojian had broken the limits of the 1001 Hall to become a squad leader of the ceremonial demonic squad, one of the 4 demonic heart harvesting units, known as Bloodless Thunder and Wind, Massacre Blade, San Dojian. With glowing purple eyes, Jin Yeomyung declared that he would definitely take San Dojian away, despite any objections. From his room, Jo Jin-sung muttered in frustration about the damned Asura King. Pondering purpose, Jo Jin-sung questioned why the Asura King would recommend him for such a position, even for his exiled son. A few days ago, the Asura King had suggested to Jo Jin-sung that he should, quote, play in the great waters before retiring. The Asura king revealed the demon Dragon Hall leader would retire in 2 years and offered to recommend Jo Jin-sung for that important position. Coveted power. The Hall leader position was one of the most important posts, serving as the best way for non-clan members to enter the Elder Council. Back in the present, Jo Jin-sung pondered the Elder Council, then questioned why the Asura king had sent his own son, Jin Yeomyung, to the 1001 Hall. Seeking counsel, he turned to his vice hall leader for thoughts, who began to consider 2 possibilities if it wasn't the Asura king's will. The vice hall leader suggested it was either the cult leader's will or Jin Yeomyung's own decision. Jo Jin-sung asked about the cult leader's will, recalling the young cult leader's house arrest after the Hidden Trace Manor incident, with Jin Yeomyung also being punished. The vice hall leader clarified Jin Yeomyung wasn't punished, but the Asura king's request had been quite unusual. Jo Jin-sung questioned what was unusual, and the vice hall leader explained it wasn't a typical request for favors or security guarantees. Instead, the Asura king had merely asked for small conveniences so his son could train freely. Jo Jin-sung concluded that Jin Yeomyung's intentions seemed genuinely serious about training. Yet, a shadow of doubt remained, prompting him to wonder if Jin Yeomyung was truly after that thing. The full moon hung in the night sky, symbolizing the passage of time during the rigorous training. Bamboo branches swayed gently under the moonlight, offering a moment of quiet reflection amidst the demanding environment. Meanwhile, the vice hall leader expressed annoyance at being summoned in such an obvious manner. Standing amidst the bamboo, the white-robed figure reiterated that even he found this method of summoning quite apparent. A cloaked figure, appearing in the distance, apologized to the vice hall leader, explaining it was an urgent order from higher up. The vice hall leader, smiling unsettlingly, questioned if the urgent order was significant enough to ruin his years of dedication. Seething inwardly, the hooded figure, despite the vice hall leader's arrogance, internally acknowledged his martial arts superiority while recognizing his favor among top executives. The hooded figure began to explain that the task was originally for his unit, the Killing Demons, but it had been transferred. The vice hall leader learned the Killing Demons unit was wiped out after involvement with the young cult leader, causing the order to be transferred to him. The second order then requested the assassination target, which the hooded figure promised to reveal via sound transmission. Oh! The second order's eye widened in utter shock as he received the secret transmission. Quickly regaining his composure, a confident, knowing smile spread across the second order's lips. The hooded figure let out a sound of exasperation, perhaps at the second order's reaction. Ha ha ha! The second order laughed loudly, prompting the hooded figure to address him, visibly annoyed. Embarrassed, the hooded figure, hinting at the need for secrecy, hushed the boisterous second order. Wiping a tear, the second order speculated on the first order's failure in their infiltration mission. Ambition burning, with glowing eyes, the second order declared his ambition to cover up the first order's mistakes and take his very position. Under the full moon, the second order asserted he would handle the mission cleanly and without complications for the upper executives. Back at the 1001 Hall, the masked leader, Jo Jin-sung, greeted Jin Yeomyung, who formally returned the respect. Jo Jin-sung, complimenting Jin Yeomyung's sharp eyes, then invited him to take a seat. Jo Jin-sung warned Jin Yeomyung that even the divine demon clans received no special treatment, and Jin Yeomyung vowed to behave well. Intrigued, holding a scroll, Jo Jin-sung noted Jin Yeomyung was more polite than expected, unlike the Ma clan's second son. Jin Yeomyung respectfully stated he wouldn't dare be rude to the iron-blooded demon lord, whose nickname was the Fog Prison Wolf. Jo Jin-sung, pleased, complimented Jin Yeomyung's manner of speaking. Jin Yeomyung, sensing a hidden motive, directly asked Jo Jin-sung if he wanted something. Jo Jin-sung explained that while overnight absences were forbidden, he could offer Jin Yeomyung certain conveniences. Jin Yeomyung, accepting the limitations, then pressed Jo Jin-sung for what other benefits he could receive. Jo Jin-sung then made a direct request, asking Jin Yeomyung to open the mainstream. Jin Yeomyung declared his desire to experience the greatness of the mainstream, created by the ancestor heavenly demon, to train his close aides. Tak, Jo Jin-sung, tapping a scroll, sternly called Jin Yeomyung reckless, questioning if he truly knew the mainstream's danger. Jo Jin-sang gravely explained the 1001 Hall's grim statistics, a 20% graduation and mortality rate, with 60% expelled. Jo Jin-sung then challenged Jin Yeomyung, revealing the mainstream's graduation rate was only 5%, and asking about its mortality rate. With a confident smile, Jin Yeomyung affirmed he already knew the mortality rate. All the rest. The visual represented the terrifying reality of the mainstream's overwhelming mortality rate. Jo Jin-sung, testing him, asked if he still dared to challenge it, knowing the grim statistics. Yes, with glowing purple eyes, Jin Yeomyung fiercely declared his absolute need to become stronger. It's a matter of life and death, literally. His memory flashed to a stark reminder of his true stakes. Jo Jin-sung, however, revealed that the mainstream training required groups of 6, puzzling Jin Yeomyung. Jo Jin-sang instructed Jin Yeomyung to gather 6, or multiples, within half a year, and Jin Yeomyung asked if he could bring all he gathered. Jo Jin-sang, amused, noted that taking talents was Jin Yeomyung's purpose from the start, though he didn't expect him to be so open. However, Jo Jin-sang sternly warned that all privileges were contingent upon Jin Yeomyung passing the 1001 Hall's test. Kek, Jin Yeomyung internally grumbled about the Ma clan's struggles and the seemingly unfair half-year deadline he'd been given. Jin Yeomyung walked with fierce determination to gather new talents when suddenly, Jin Yeomyung, a voice called, revealing his Demon Heaven Jin Clan identity. Another student, recognizing him, repeated his full name, Demon Heaven Jin Clan's Jin Yeomyung. Jin Yeomyung turned, puzzled, as a new red-haired student, Ma Jin-seong, defiantly introduced himself. Accusing, Ma Jin-seong furiously declared that Ma Chil-soo, the one Jin Yeomyung had cowardly injured, was his 6th cousin. With a furious expression, Ma Jin-seong pointed, emphasizing that the injured man was his 6th cousin. Jin Yeomyung calmly asked Ma Jin-seong his purpose, who, surrounded by onlookers, declared he simply wanted his existence acknowledged. With a bead of sweat, Jin Yeomyung responded with an awkward, "Ah, okay." Critically assessing, meanwhile, an expert critically observed a training ground, noting the lack of technique connection and uneven inner chi circulation. The elder lamented, stating that if only the student had fully used the heaven-slaying enhanced chi, they would have excelled. The elder scolded a flustered female student, telling her she wouldn't have fallen to a mere Qingcheng sect elder. Pondering, the thought lingers, questioning if one is still afraid of succumbing to their demonic nature. Haunted. A menacing hand clutches a dagger as a voice from the past echoes, asking if he truly thought he could kill Beyond or the Jin Clan child with his own hands. The scene shifts to a grand hall, where a lord addresses a female attendant named Yura, who respectfully acknowledges his summons. The narrative reveals the cult's ancient history, founded by the ancestor heavenly demon over 1,000 years ago, having produced only 3 heavenly demons. Defining. A text box further clarifies that a heavenly demon is an absolute being, rarely born across many generations. Stunned, Yura listens in shock, as she is told she possesses the potential to become a heavenly demon, possibly the first in the cult's history to carry on the lineage. A hand glows with purple energy as a voice states that falling to demonic nature is for the guilty, while people like them should actively wield it. This assertion is made even if it means losing something precious in the end, as Yura and the Lord stand amidst the cult's grand architecture. The Lord, with his long white hair, instructs Yura that one day she will have to marry to continue the Cheon clan's bloodline. Perplexed. Yet, for now, she is commanded to focus solely on her cultivation without distractions, leaving the attendant puzzled about the conversation shift. Curious, the attendant, still looking confused, wonders if the Lord's prior liking for young Master Jin was a misunderstanding. The Lord remains silent, his expression hidden behind his long beard, hinting at deeper thoughts. Yura's eyes glow, now understanding that they are not to be underestimated, possibly referring to the Jin Clan. Back at the 1001 Hall, students groan and plead for help, while carrying massive rocks as part of their arduous training. The eye patch-wearing instructor, watching from above, bluntly tells the struggling students that the training won't kill them. Kung, Kwang. As students drop their rocks for a short break, the instructor commands them to listen carefully. Resilient, Jin Yeomyung internally grumbles about the immense pain, yet notes his quick recovery, attributing it to his persistent Jin Clan bloodline. Another student humorously imagines how easily Yeoun would handle the heavy rock training, likely laughing through it. The instructor informs the gathered students that the 4 Great Halls have recently expanded to 5, with Heavenly Mind Hall actively recruiting operatives. Students, including Jin Yeomyung, are immediately tempted by the news that up to 3 people per grade can be recommended from the 1001 Hall. An informative visual explains that the Heavenly Mind Hall is an intelligence organization destined to control the entire cult in the future. Jin Yeomyung internally muses that it's highly suspicious for such an organization to overlook the Guardian Hall's betrayal and still recommend Hanwoo Baek for a prestigious selection. Calculated. His expression sharpens as he realizes this recruitment presents a safe opportunity to infiltrate the Heavenly Mind Hall. Scheming. The instructor grins, hinting at an alternative, even better path for the students to advance beyond the Heavenly Mind Hall. Chok. The instructor singles out Jin Yeomyung, addressing him by his full Demon Heaven Jin Clan name, causing him to internally curse at being called out. Jin Yeomyung, with a slight sweat drop and a mischievous smile, acknowledges that the instructor isn't wrong about his clan identity. Infuriated, the instructor's face contorts in anger as Jin Yeomyung sarcastically offers him the vacant position of the Demon Heaven Jin Clan's front gatekeeper, asking, "What?" Jin Yeomyung, with a smug expression, asks if the instructor looks down on the gatekeeper position, then reveals it pays 3 times his current salary. He continues to expose the exact salaries, stating that basic instructors get 15 taels and senior instructors 20. The instructor stares, utterly dumbfounded, unable to comprehend how Jin Yeomyung knows such sensitive information. Jin Yeomyung maintains his confident smile, asserting that the opportunity for the gatekeeper position is always open to the instructor. The instructor's fist clenches, shaking with barely contained fury, as he internally labels Jin Yeomyung a bastard. Choa. The instructor lunges forward, seizing Jin Yeomyung by the collar, and quietly asking if he is serious about his offer. The other students, still burdened by their rocks, watch the confrontation unfold in stunned silence. The instructor, still gripping Jin Yeomyung, loudly demands to know his reasoning and purpose for the audacious offer. An internal thought describes a martial arts principle. When mastered, a technique can grant effects similar to imperviousness to water and fire. In a contrasting scene, Jin Yeomyung casually shares drinks and converses with another student on a large rock. Sharpening, swoosh. A sword blade appears, cutting through the air with extreme speed, suggesting intense training. In the 1001 Hall training hall, Jin Yeomyung observes his sword technique, noting that it feels like something from the orthodox sects. Unusual synergy. This scene shifts to a dynamic combat sequence where Jin Yeomyung, Cheon Yura, and an older man engage, revealing an unusual blending of techniques. The narrative explains that it is often impossible to launch coordinated pincer attacks using sword techniques of different natures. Remarkable, yet a flashback shows a smiling Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura, hinting at their remarkable collaborative abilities during that time. Their combined energy forms a unified, powerful attack, blending as smoothly as water flowing, despite their differing techniques. Jin Yeomyung, observing intently, resolves to look at their unique synergy more closely this time. Jin Yeomyung and Cheon Yura stand facing each other in a training hall, swords drawn, ready to spar. Cheon Yura's eyes glow with intense concentration as she prepares her next move with her sword. Clashing! Chwak! Ching! Their swords clash in a burst of light and energy, demonstrating the raw power of their training session. Is that correct? Swift! Exclamation mark. Pa! Exclamation mark. The image captures the incredible speed and precision of a sword as it slashes through the air. Ka! With his eyes glowing purple, Jin Yeomyung declares that he can take the next strike this time. Jin Yeomyung confidently endures Cheon Yura's powerful overhead strike, showcasing his growing ability to handle their combined techniques. Zipu. Yura's eyes reflect deep concentration and perhaps pain as she continues to spar, barely holding her ground. Smug ha. Jin Yeomyung, his eyes glowing purple, mockingly asks if Yura is upset she couldn't push him back, relishing his newfound power. Sa. Yura's thoughts reveal that her blocked acupoints are gradually breaking through, a side effect of their intense training. In the past, Jin Yeomyung struggled to fight against Yura's powerful chi, barely able to fend off her movements with his sword and blocked acupoints. Triumphant, but now, as they clash in a dynamic exchange, Jin Yeomyung can clearly see her techniques, signifying his vast improvement. Yura, with a subtle smile, demands to know what he just managed to block, surprised by his resilience. Jin Yeomyung reacts with surprise as he seemingly realizes something profound about Yura's technique. He understands that the Ten Heavens demon sword, which Yura wields, shares roots with the heaven-killing demonic sword. Confused, he internally questions how this connection is possible, given the secrecy of such techniques. Jin Yeomyung's thoughts reveal that the heaven-killing demonic sword is a secret technique known only to the Cheon clan's direct lineage. Powerful. Peg. Jin Yeomyung unleashes the sixth form of the Ten Heavens demon sword, causing his blade to pierce through the air with immense force. His technique has now surpassed the chi-storing sword, indicating a new level of mastery. As the powerful sword chi expands, Jin Yeomyung's attack sends Yura recoiling, demonstrating his newfound strength in their sparring match. Jin Yeomyung's eyes glow with immense focus as he peers into the path beyond the wall, signifying a deeper understanding of martial arts. Ascending, with his purple eyes shining, Jin Yeomyung has reached the infinite demonic realm, unlocking a formidable new stage of power. Explosive, Jin Yeomyung unleashes a devastating strike, causing a blinding burst of light and energy that radiates from his attack. Kwayang. Kwagwagwang. His powerful technique causes the very walls of the training hall to shatter and crumble into debris. Kwang. Kwang. The masked man and the eye-patch instructor from the 1001 Hall react in shock to the sudden, loud explosion from the training room. Alarmed, outside, the massive destruction of the hall's wall prompts a voice to exclaim, "What's going on?" The masked man examines a piece of crushed stone, remarking with surprise that the sturdy green steel stone was effortlessly crushed like tofu. Investigating, he notes the good fortune that few officials were in the training room and questions if Jin Yeomyung was the cause of the destruction. Another man confirms Jin Yeomyung's account. A powerful chi wave suddenly struck him, causing the wall to collapse with a boom. The masked man ponders that, given Jin Yeomyung's status, the incident could possibly have been an assassination attempt. Skeptical, yet he doubts it was an assassin, questioning whether one would employ such a flashy and conspicuous method. He briefly considers that Jin Yeomyung might have caused the destruction himself during training, but quickly dismisses the thought. He concludes it's impossible for someone of Jin Yeomyung's age to be in the peak realm, especially since he's not a cult leader. The two men stand amidst the rubble, silently assessing the extensive damage to the training hall wall. Sigil Sigil! Jin Yeomyung, sitting outside, wonders if an infiltrator has snuck in, questioning how the Ten Heavens demon sword entered his clan's vault and how his master knew its secret. As Jin Yeomyung ponders his master's true identity, his master, referred to as Young Master, speaks to him. Jin Yeomyung turns to his obscured master, directly asking if he was the one who left the suspicious traces at the scene. Scheming, Jin Yeomyung internally decides not to reveal his enhanced sword chi yet, preferring to make the incident appear as an assassination attempt. Kuktuk. The bald instructor admits he did leave traces connecting to the outside, as instructed, but trails off, expressing a reservation. Whack! Jin Yeomyung looks shocked as his instructor reveals that he senses another presence besides themselves at the scene. Is that correct? Jin Yeomyung examines broken branches on the ground, concluding that there truly is an external intruder, an unexpected third party. His master, surveying the shattered wall, expresses amusement at this blind luck, noting the intruder is incredibly big. Jin Yeomyung, with a menacing smile, orders his master to track down this unknown bastard. His master responds with a confident smirk, implicitly agreeing to hunt down the intruder. Under the direct orders of the Cheon Clan, a formidable group known as the Demonic King Ghostslayer Squad is revealed. The leader of the squad's second group is identified as Ninth Cloud Ghost Order Byok Cheonwon, a masked and powerful figure. It has already been a month since the order was issued to the second order, indicating a delay. Jul, a hooded figure, informs Jin Yeomyung that Sir Pal Cheongun is overseeing the matter, sternly warning him not to ruin their grand plan. Is there anything else you would like me to read? Jin Yeomyung promises to handle it quickly, but internally notes that the 1001 Hall's defenses have suddenly become extremely strict. The hooded figure reassures Jin Yeomyung about an upcoming external training opportunity, planning to recruit him or kill him if necessary. Whew! Jin Yeomyung presses his hands together, a faint glow emanating from them as he finds his training stable. Benefiting, he reflects that the broken training hall unexpectedly shortened his training time, which proved to be helpful for stabilizing his cultivation. This forced pause in his training also inadvertently blocked the danger of falling prey to a heart demon, preventing impatience for higher realms. As he surveys the rocky landscape at dusk, Jin Yeomyung considers whether he should head to the dormitory next. Entering the hall, Jin Yeomyung is enthusiastically greeted by other students, who clear a path for their young master to rest. Jin Yeomyung muses about his life changing if he's drafted into the Jin Clan, yet acknowledges he still has to prove his worth. The scene shifts to a perfectly chongai tilde geka tilde, neat, clean, sparkling bed, ready for Jin Yeomyung to rest after his eventful day. Jin Yeomyung is enthusiastically welcomed by fellow students who have prepared a new blanket for him. Suddenly, a red-haired student bursts in, openly expressing his disdain for the neighborhood boss from a collateral line. Jin Yeomyung calmly suggests that he could also give the loud student an order, hinting at his own authority. The red-haired student angrily refuses to take orders from Jin Yeomyung, defiantly sticking out his tongue. Jin Yeomyung counters, suggesting that by training in the mainstream, the red-haired student could even surpass Ma Chil-soo, whom he so admires. Intrigued, the red-haired student reacts with surprise, questioning if such an impressive feat is truly possible. Pondering, as the red-haired student walks off, Jin Yeomyung tells him to take his time considering the tempting offer. Jin Yeomyung then asks his attendant for the results of his previous investigation, which the attendant eagerly provides. Hararak. The attendant unrolls a scroll, revealing information about the factions and talented individuals with the last name Sang. Jin Yeomyung observes the document, noting the numerous students with the names Sang and Yeon, and a clear directive to kill Yeon. Connecting thoughts. He then recalls that the Mountain Path Hall's squad leader was his immediate superior, a detail that now holds new significance. He considers the identity of that honest martial artist who seemed to have no connections or affiliations. His purple eyes narrow in deep contemplation as a new understanding begins to dawn. Intense. The intensity in his gaze deepens, hinting at a profound internal struggle or revelation. The layers of mystery begin to peel back, revealing a clearer picture. Puzzled, a nagging question arises in his mind about the oddly familiar nature of certain names. He sees flashes of faces, murmuring names like Han Mubek and Han Muyan, wondering about their connection. His attendant explains that Han Muyan is the most notable talent in the 1001 Hall, capable of wielding powerful sword chi. The instructors announce that while investigations continue, students will be divided into 9 groups for battle training and 2 mock battles. The eye patch instructor clarifies that the bottom 3 groups will face expulsion, while the rest will be deployed into real battles. The deployment location is revealed to be Qinghai, under the influence of the powerful unorthodox sect Evil Domineering Heaven. Jin Yeomyung reacts with surprise, repeating the name Evil Domineering Heaven in disbelief. The history of Evil Domineering Heaven is recounted, founded by the powerful Jin Yeomyung, whose death led to a brutal civil war. An anomaly occurred when the youngest disciple, only 28, unexpectedly won the civil war, despite lacking the greatest power. Most concerning was the sudden, inexplicable cooperation between the orthodox sects and evil domineering heaven, seemingly ending all conflict. This alliance, now unified against the demonic cult, deeply angers Jin Yeomyung, who curses the hypocrisy of it all. The instructor continues, detailing that the battle group leaders will be chosen from their seniors, further frustrating Jin Yeomyung. An assembly of students is shown, as the instructor explains that the leaders are exceptional talents who excelled in the group battle exam. Jin Yeomyung realizes he is in Group 2 and nervously greets the others, anticipating his senior leader. Yura's voice rings out as she declares that she has been chosen as the leader of Group 2. Jin Yeomyung is utterly stunned, remembering Yura had the highest grades, and struggles to comprehend the situation. Yura, visibly flustered and on the verge of tears, awkwardly introduces herself and expresses eagerness to work together. Jin Yeomyung internally despairs, realizing he is completely doomed, as the person he most wished to avoid is now in his group. He ponders the crucial importance of a leader's ability in group battles, foreshadowing concern. Yura stands before them, nervously fidgeting, radiating an aura of utter anxiety. Both Jin Yeomyung and Yura are consumed by thoughts of impending doom and regret. Jin Yeomyung raises his hand and directly addresses Yura, stating he has a question for the leader. The red-haired student, emboldened by Jin Yeomyung's action, boldly asks if there is any way to change the designated leader. Yura, turning away, explains that the instructors made the appointments, questioning if her leadership seems unreliable. Jin Yeomyung internally notes that, in this group of rebels, one wrong word from Yura could cause the entire group to collapse. He considers mediating, but, curious about Yura's resolve, turns to her and pointedly asks if she has a problem with the situation. Sitting. Yura draws her sword, her expression firm, as she recalls a saying from her grandfather. Her face is set with unwavering determination as she remembers her grandfather's wisdom. Yura declares that if she wins, her subordinates will listen well, shocking the other students who question her grandfather's teachings. Jin Yeomyung stands, drawing his own sword, and challenges Yura to test her leadership capabilities by defeating him. The red-haired student looks astonished, repeating Jin Yeomyung's challenge in disbelief. Yura, her green eyes serious, vows that if Jin Yeomyung defeats her, she will recommend him as leader and leave the hall. Whoa. The students gasp and ike. Jin Yeomyung realizes there is no turning back from this sudden, dramatic challenge. Resolute, a determined foot steps forward as a voice warns not to regret this decisive moment. HYAAAP. A decisive foot stomp signals the start of the challenge. Analytic, Jin Yeomyung mentally notes that this technique resembles one Ma Chael-soo attempted to use. The red-haired student lunges forward, unleashing his bloodstream phantom sword technique. Fierce. He follows up with a mid-air flying blood bullet as Jin Yeomyung responds with a dismissive HMPH. Jin Yeomyung prepares, his body glowing with an inner light, ready to meet the attack. Puzzled. He appears surprised by the red-haired student's move, perhaps recognizing something unexpected. Kang! Their swords clash in a powerful parry, meeting the airborne strike head-on. Wait! Suddenly, Yura cuts in with her own blade, striking at the red-haired student in the midst of his attack. Her expression is one of unwavering determination as she lands her hit. Impactful. POEOK. Yura delivers a solid punch to the red-haired student, sending him reeling. Kihi. The red-haired student cries out in agony, his eyes wide in disbelief. Kudangtang. He crashes to the ground, defeated by Yura's swift intervention, as Jin Yeomyung calmly observes. Jin Yeomyung thinks to himself that the red-haired student's posture was oddly familiar. Intrigued, he ponders the technique, realizing it requires two swords, and considers what such a powerful skill could mean. Jin Yeomyung quickly dismisses the thought, believing such a secret would surely turn the entire divine cult upside down. God. The red-haired student grinds his teeth in rage, directly addressing Jin Yeomyung. He swears to kill Jin Yeomyung, his anger still burning intensely after his defeat. Charged. Woo-woo! The red-haired student's sword pulses with crimson energy as he prepares for another attack. The narration highlights that this ki-infusing technique is a minimum qualification to be called a master. Other students whisper in amazement, having never seen the Blood Dragon clan's signature move before. Jin Yeomyung smiles, noting that the red-haired student is truly enraged. Yura interjects, warning the red-haired student to put his sword away or risk serious injury. The red-haired student angrily declares himself a proud member of the Blood Dragon clan and challenges anyone to look down on him. The eye patch instructor intervenes, telling the red-haired student to calm down, stating he is crossing a line. The red-haired student attempts to protest further, but his anger is tempered by the instructor's presence. The instructor explains that even though their cult values strength, it is still a society governed by laws, demanding respect. He reminds the red-haired student that defying these laws would dishonor his ancestor, Ma Jinsung, who helped create them. Tsuk. The red-haired student finally relents, acknowledging the instructor's words with a sigh. The instructor then commands everyone to split into their groups, announcing that their leaders will provide detailed schedules. Jin Yeomyung internally believes that Yura, having proven her skills, will now successfully unite their group around her leadership. The red-haired student looks uncertain, seemingly pondering his next words. Yura, with genuine concern, asked the red-haired student if the place she hit him is alright, as he remains silent. Jin Yeomyung internally recoils, finding Yura's concern sounds like mockery and questioning her strange behavior. The instructor calls for various formations, guiding the students through their group battle training. Yura struggles to recall the next formations, listing them out with uncertainty. Two students yell, "Attack!" as they launch their practice projectiles at targets. Puk puk. The projectiles strike their targets, confirming the success of the attack. Yura, huffing from exertion, calls out the next command as other students visibly tire from the training. The red-haired student impatiently asks Jin Yeomyung what they should do now, questioning Yura's leadership, while Jin Yeomyung deflects. He angrily asks if they are all going to be disqualified because of their idiot group leader. Another student mocks the red-haired student for being knocked out by that idiot, causing the red-haired student to protest. The red-haired student presses the point, stating Jin Yeomyung knows Yura's commanding is clumsy. Jin Yeomyung, taking a drink from his flask, admits internally that the red-haired student is not entirely wrong. Jaewok! The red-haired student points at Jin Yeomyung, insisting he should give the commands in the mock battle to avoid humiliation. Ban! Jin Yeomyung silently regards the red-haired student, considering his suggestion. Dickum! The red-haired student squirms, admitting that following Jin Yeomyung's orders would be humiliating. Chuak! He quickly adds that Jin Yeomyung is the most qualified, and everyone else would willingly follow him. Jin Yeomyung takes another drink from his flask, acknowledging the logic but still appearing hesitant. He finishes the drink, a few drops spilling from his lips. The red-haired student reacts with wide-eyed surprise, demanding to know why not when Jin Yeomyung declines. The red-haired student, now completely enraged by Jin Yeomyung's refusal, vehemently dismisses his reasoning. Hidden within the bamboo, Yura and another student look on with confused expressions at the ongoing argument. Another group member confronts Jin Yeomyung, angrily questioning his choice of the battering ram formation and accusing him of leading them to their deaths. Unyielding, Jin Yeomyung sternly reiterates that the group leader's commands are absolute and must be obeyed. The student insists Jin Yeomyung is indifferent to their potential disqualification, highlighting their desperate need to survive. The frustrated group members echo their determination to survive and advance, loudly decrying Jin Yeomyung's poor tactical judgment. The enraged student demands Jin Yeomyung step down, while Jin Yeomyung, seemingly unaffected, inwardly muses about Sandojian's suffering. The narration reveals Sandojian's other nickname, Father of the Wind Demon Corps, whom he proudly led despite their ridiculed status. This loyalty meant his Wind Demon Corps would lay down their lives at his command, even in the most desperate of battles, like the burning stronghold depicted. Farouk! Sandojan, surrounded by a potent aura, declares he will not repeat himself, threatening to use force if his orders are not followed immediately. The students mockingly challenge Jin Yeomyung, daring him to try and subdue them all alone, as another student tries to intervene. Jin Yeomyung, recalling a past moment of youthful concern, reflects that desperation can sometimes enable one to endure difficult situations. Yura approaches Jin Yeomyung, pointing out the dire consequences of expulsion and the significant presence of group leader Baek Sangha, hinting at deeper implications. Jin Yeomyung questions the red-haired student, suggesting it is strange that they are expected to unquestioningly follow seemingly unreliable group leaders. Jin Yeomyung's eyes narrow intensely, hinting at a deeper understanding of the situation. Resigned, the sigh of resignation hangs in the air over the training grounds. Two students let out long, exasperated sighs, clearly fed up with the training. HUU. Two exhausted students exchange knowing glances, acknowledging their mutual frustration with the current state of affairs. Yura asks the male student if his group members are giving him trouble, to which he replies they mostly follow his lead despite minor complaints. The male student buries his face in his hands, lamenting how a certain grown man is causing problems, unlike the rest of the group who endure well. Ururung. The male student lashes out at a cowering group member, accusing him of causing a mess and being useless. PFT. Yura giggles, recalling that humiliating moment from last year, acknowledging that without her intervention, the student would have been expelled. The male student pauses thoughtfully, about to change the subject. Uncomfortable apology. The male student awkwardly apologizes, explaining that his senior is persistent in trying to recruit Jin Yeomyung. Yura, looking away, firmly reiterates that she cannot affiliate with any group due to personal reasons, despite having nothing to apologize for. The male student sweats nervously, internally panicking about the heavy atmosphere, and desperately trying to think of a way to change the subject. Intrigued, Yura, looking thoughtful, brings up the topic of a big shot within his group. Startled dismay grumble. The male student recoils in despair, muttering about being screwed, then stutters a shocked apology. Conflicted. UWAHH. The male student laments his situation, acknowledging that the big shot listens well and doesn't appear rebellious. Ack. The student is terrified, realizing this big shot could effortlessly crush him, desperately pleading for Jin Yeomyung to calm down. Jin Yeomyung gently touches a bamboo leaf, subtly chiding the student for talking behind someone's back when they are right there. Both the male student and Jin Yeomyung reel back in wide-eyed surprise, suddenly realizing Yura was listening. Yura, with a knowing smile, greets Captain Sandojian, correcting herself to Senior San, finding it unnatural to be so polite. Yura reveals she has business with both Jin Yeomyung and the male student, finding their unexpected encounter convenient, much to Jin Yeomyung's surprise. Yura extends her hand, addressing Senior Sandojian directly. Yura boldly invites Sandojian to join her, extending an open hand in invitation. Sandojian looks bewildered, questioning how Yura knows his identity despite it being their first meeting. Yura confidently reveals she knows him as Sandojian, the Butcher Blade of the Great Bear Stronghold. Mortified Butcher Bladee. Sandojian is utterly mortified, reacting with wide-eyed shock to his nickname, especially the butcher part. Sandojian is impressed by Yura's knowledge of his past and her lineage from the 6 great clans. Yura admits her interest in Sandojian, while he looks puzzled, wondering what he did to attract her attention. Yura humorously recalls the unforgettable time the 7th Elder casually yanked an entire stronghold out of the ground, then reveals she picked up its miniature model on her way back. Yura bluntly tells Sandojian that, despite his great talent, he also possesses a significant weakness, prompting his surprised query. Sandojian's eyes widen in astonishment, wondering if Yura truly believes she can help him overcome his weaknesses. Yura makes a grand promise in Jin Yeomyung's name to make Sandojian a Supreme Peak Martial Master within 10 years. Supreme Peak! Jin Yeomyung, in a flashback, reacts with stunned disbelief at the monumental promise of reaching supreme peak mastery. Tug! In his past life, Sandojan would sometimes confide in Jin Yeomyung, sharing his deep regrets. Haha, an older Jin Yeomyung recalls Sandojan's wistful regrets about lacking advanced martial arts or elixirs in the past. Jin Yeomyung internally believes Sandojan cannot refuse, as his deepest desire is now within reach, promising full support from the Jin Clan with just one word of acceptance. Yura leans in, her expression determined, coaxing Sandojan to accept her compelling offer. Sandojeon, the powerful name rings out with an explosive burst. The elder looks up and softly apologizes. The young woman reacts with shock, quickly declining the offer despite her gratitude. The elder clears his throat, insisting she accept the offer or risk future regret. Resolute. The elder firmly states his loyalty, declaring he cannot betray the one he serves. The young woman muses that the elder wasn't always so devoted, while he argues the seventh elder would support a disciple spreading their wings. Han Mi-yeon explains his situation, revealing he was assigned a specific mission. The young woman understands her purpose, stating she must stay by Senior Han's side to assist him. The young woman clarifies that she's referring to Han Mi-yeon, and the elder acknowledges the connection. The elder proudly declares Han Mi-yeon to be the true heir to the seventh elder. The young woman internally questions this revelation, as, in her past life, someone else inherited that crucial role. The protagonist's thoughts echo, questioning just who exactly Han Mi-yeon is. Observant. The elder, now silhouetted, notes that the young woman also has a question for him. The young woman eagerly asks if she'll receive the same offer, only to be met with a firm rejection. The elder clarifies he'll talk about Group 2, causing the young woman to sigh in disappointment. Han Mi-yeon turns to her, suggesting it's time for her to properly step up and fulfill her role. She confirms he noticed her potential but explains it's not yet time, citing the Cheon Academy's policy. Strategic. She explains her plan to draw out as much opposition from the team as possible before the mock battle. Han Mi-yeon smiles, implying that since he's seen through her plan, it's time to assess his own capabilities. Surprised, she acknowledges he's figured out her purpose, and he, as vice leader, promises to back her authority for Group 2's victory. She admits getting carried away by her grandfather's teachings, relieved it only ended in excitement. Han Mi-yeon points out that with another sword, her previous display could have caused serious injuries. The young woman's hands rise in surprise at his insightful observation. Bewildered, as she lies on the ground, the young woman confusedly asks who he is, and then questions her own identity. With wide, startled eyes, she confronts him, demanding to know how he possesses such knowledge. Han Mi-yeon decides to feign ignorance, faking a cough to act clueless about her question. Skeptical, she challenges his act, asking if he takes her for a fool who doesn't understand dual-handed swordsmanship. Did I read that back correctly for you? She demonstrates, clarifying that a dual sword master's openings are visible even when using only one, which any decent master would notice. Ironic, Han Mi-yeon asks if she's implying she's that kind of martial master, to which she proudly affirms. Her eyes widen in shock as the stick in his hand shimmers with powerful sword energy. Han Mi-yeon presents his glowing twig, asking if that's enough proof, stunning her with his sword energy manipulation. Utterly shocked, she realizes that drawing sword energy with a mere twig is as difficult as producing enhanced energy. Explosive pang. She explains that without precise control, the twig would simply explode from the intense energy. Deductive. She concludes he's one of the famous 6 demonic dragons, but he corrects her, stating that's his younger brother. He suggests that just as she keeps her dual sword use a secret, he'd like to keep his own skills secret too. Mischievous, she proposes they call it a draw and share secrets, confirming her hidden identity as Baek Sanga, an outsider. As Baek Sanga walks away, Han Mi-yeon instructs Ji Chil to keep a close eye on her. Ji Chil, hidden in the shadows, asks if he should eliminate Baek Sanga if she seems suspicious, assuring no traces would be left. TTAK. Han Mi-yeon hits Ji Chil's hand, scolding him and asserting that they must protect her instead. Han Mi-yeon thoughtfully concludes that he has just identified the assassination target. He deduces there's only one place with strong enough ties to send a child to the demonic cult and uses dual swords. This leads him to identify the Nantian Baek clan, the greatest sword clan in the Central Plains. The current head of the Baek clan is a 5-king and leader of the Orthodox Alliance, making Baek Sangha possibly his granddaughter. Foreshadowing. He recalls that in a few years, both the Baek and Namgung clans will be annihilated, a scheme orchestrated by the demonic cult. He remembers when the demonic cult was blamed, and they inexplicably remained silent, despite calls for revenge and justice. Insightful. He realizes that all the pieces of the puzzle would fall into place if something had happened to Baek Sangha during that time. Puzzled, he wonders why the clan head would send his own granddaughter here, then a sudden realization dawns upon him. Han Myeon's thoughts race, questioning if the cult leader was informed about Baek Sangha beforehand. Haek, the young woman, reacts with indignation, wondering why she wasn't given a heads up, especially as the potential son-in-law. The distant elder senses a sudden itch in his ears, unaware he's being discussed by others. Tak. Regardless of the complexities, Han Myeon sets his foot down, determined to act. Fiercely determined, he internally vows to protect Baek Sangha and dismantle the twisted schemes that threaten her. A young student gazes upwards with anticipation as the scene shifts to a new location. The grand mock battle is officially declared, setting the stage for a confrontation between Group 2 and Group 4. Group 2's leader, Baek Sangha, holds her flag, explaining that flag bearers are restricted to only issuing commands. Group 4's leader, Ju Gukseon, holds her flag, declaring that victory belongs to the group that first captures the opponent's standard. The instructor with the eye patch dramatically signals the start of the mock battle, unleashing the competitors. Ju Gukseon immediately shouts an order for her team to deploy a diagonal line formation, catching Baek Sangha by surprise. Whoa! Group 4 charges forward, unleashing a powerful cry as they follow their leader's initial command. Oh! Han Myeon observes the direct charge, wondering if Group 4 intends a full power clash from the very beginning. Tak! A silver tail is bet, with instructor Jeon confidently placing his wager on Group 4's victory. The other student expresses shock, asking if instructor Jeon is truly going all in with his bold wager. Instructor Jeon dismisses the skepticism, boasting that his chosen 3 were the first to decipher the mutiny test during training. 3 students dash forward, demonstrating their utmost effort to perfectly execute their leader's commands. The onlookers are impressed by their insane coordination, as the first 2 students introduce themselves as Baeksa and Hyoksa. The powerful trio proudly declares themselves the Demon Snake Trio, with the final member introducing himself as Jin Yeomyung. Baek Sangha looks on with a bewildered expression, wondering why her opponents are introducing themselves mid-battle. Chokang, the Demon Snake Trio instantly strikes, seizing the very moment to launch their coordinated assault. Dodging expertly, Kayakang. Tiang. Amidst a flash of energy, one of the trio boldly proclaims they saw their opponent's move. Comically intense, the male trio member declares he fell in love at first sight, completely flustering his cowering teammate who questions if this was their true plan. Observing the chaos might seriously distract him, as the importance of coordination in team battles becomes apparent with the shouts to charge and smash them to pieces. Instructor Jeon doubles down, now confidently betting 10 gold taels on Group 2's eventual victory. What? The female student turns back, aghast that Instructor Jeon is now wagering half his monthly salary on the outcome. Instructor Jeon challenges his companion, suggesting they can give up now if they are too afraid to bet further.